Welcome, everybody. And if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And this is the thing at the foot of the bed. I am one of your hosts, and my amazing good friend, incredible medium, David, is next to me. I get most of the housekeeping out of the way, and then he adds his part. So we're streaming to TikTok again. I thought we did it, you guys. I was almost there for a streaming key, but we're going to do it this weekend, I think, right into Monday next week. And then you guys will get to see the show rather than just see me talking and hearing. David's dressed as a witch, actually. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome. You can listen to the show on 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and 107.7 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans. And like I said, this is the thing at the foot of the bed. My name's Lorilei Potvin. I am a host of my own show here on UPRN, the Angel Rock on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then David and I do the thing at the foot of the bed on Thursday nights here, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're also doing the UPRN Halloween party. We're going to see, I don't know who's popping in or who's not, but hopefully some of the hosts will join us tonight. And welcome. We see there's people in the chat already, which is amazing. I'll put her background up. No, maybe that's a little too busy. Maybe we'll keep it off. It's a little easier, I think, with spooky vibes with Halloween. So what do I want to tell you guys? Yeah, I guess I should tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, registered nurse. I'm also an animal communicator. I'm well-versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler, and I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. And I'm very well versed in the paranormal. I always say never went looking for it, it found us. We on my previous home. So we have shared our story on the Travel Channel. It's Paranormal Survivor Season 4, Episode 9. It's called Demonic Hauntings. And if you guys ever want to watch us on TV, you can. The network actually has its own TV channel. You're going to head over to Roku and you're going to go into the channel store search bar, type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down list. We're about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO paranormal. Sorry, my little beads here, my eyes are falling off. UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us. And if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. We really do have something for everybody on this network. We are always adding new shows. And it's not all just UFO and paranormal. This network's been around for 25 plus years, and we do stream multiple shows daily and throughout the night, 7 days a week. And when we're not, the archive server dips into the archive server and randomly picks shows over the last 25 plus years. So make sure you tell everybody about us. We'd love to have you join us. Now, you're going to know that you're going to hear us talking to the audience that's in the chat. This show and my show, The Angel Rock, we love to make it very audience participative. So if you want to join the chat, this is how you can, because 80% of our audience is audience is audio only. And we do broadcast to every country in the world, believe it or not, we do. But if you can't see us, you're probably wondering, where are all these comments? Because I've gone to a show like that. How do I join the conversation? This is how you're going to do it. You can head over to Lorilei Potvin on Facebook. You can head over to Medium David Hanzel, I believe it is, on Facebook for David. It's the spirit experience. I was trying to tell TikTok because I was thinking ahead, and I'm trying to remember. I go, just look for David Hanzel. But TikTok, if you want to find David, and you can join the conversation, or me. Mine is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin on YouTube. David's is the Spirit Experience. We are also streaming on both our UPRN channels, main one and the backup one. The main one is UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. The second one is UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. Rumble, we are streaming to you tonight. Believe it or not, it's a weird name. I have this account for a long time, and it's under the name of Mystique 1508, spelt exactly like Mystique. It was named after X-Men, not anything nefarious or let's just say in Dancing on a Pole kind of name. That's not the kind of name it is, but that's how you'll find us. So if you're on Rumble, say hi. We can see your comments over there. We'd love to have you join us. I am streaming on TikTok tonight. Michelle Wilfong, I see you there. I owe you. Michelle Wilfong is my moderator over on my TikTok channel under Lorilei Potvin. I think it's the Angel Rock, it's called also. And you guys check her TikTok out. She has a really haunted, spooky place and where she lives, and she makes many videos and shows you what she experiences and films it. And I really appreciate all her help over there. If you're over on TikTok, don't forget to tap the screen, please. The more likes, you can get more people joining in and watching, and we'd love to have that happen. Also, did I forget anything, Dave? Let me see. Oh, I know where else you can comment. So like I said, Rumble, you can also go to UFO Paranormal. I did say that, UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network on YouTube. You can comment there. If you can see us, you can comment, basically. So yeah, I think that's everything finally, Dave. So go for it. Oh, you know what I did forget? I want to tell one thing. Instagram. Let me tell them one thing I forgot. Instagram, you guys. The Angel Rock, they don't put your comments over here like TikTok. So I'm going to pop back and forth, so don't think we're ignoring you. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. We both downloaded the same app, a Ghostbox app.
So you're playing with it,
and I was playing with it, and I'm going to let you know now, because now as I went through it and seeing all the terrible reviews of it, I of course will also give it a terrible review because it absolutely does nothing. And just so you guys don't waste $3.99, it is called the SBX Pro Spirit Box app. It's absolutely awful.
Well, I paid $4.99 because I'm in Canada.
Yeah, you paid $4.99.
Our dollar is in the toilet.
Yeah.
Hi, Mish. Oh, Mish is going back to work. She's in the future. It's Friday morning over in Australia. So thanks for popping in, Mish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your Halloween was yesterday. But anyway, my name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium and a channel, and obviously I have terrible taste in Ghostbox apps. That's okay.
We both did it. You won't know unless you try.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work. There's nothing you can do. I've done everything on it, and I even looked it up real quick, and it doesn't do anything. But anyway, it is what it is. It's
did you turn your volume button on your phone? Because a lot of times they don't work if you don't.
That could be it too, but yeah, it wasn't doing anything. But we'll try it again. We'll see, and if I try and it works on this one, I will give it a better review before we're done. So I am a witch, I guess, and I am a boy, so I am a biatch.
It works. It works, Dave. It works. You got to I found this out the hard way because none of these apps tell you that. Somebody that works with SB7s, I was one of the people we know, told me, or I think I actually seen on a YouTube channel that told me you have to have your volume, but like how so you don't hear every alarm. You got to turn the ringer on, basically.
Yeah, that's what I just did, and it probably will work that way. But I'm going to chalk it up to last Halloween. We both put a bunch of apps on our phone, and I tell you, there wasn't one app that I liked. Some of them pre-program stuff in there, which I don't like. I like people who actually build spirit boxes and all that. I think you get the best stuff from those, and because. For anybody listening, spirit boxes, I believe, do work, and you can get really good stuff from it. But when you get one on an app, they're going to pre-program a lot of negative words in it because they think, people just want to have fun. So, I mean, it's okay for that. I guess if you're having a slumber.
Okay, so some of the ones I tried, that I've seen other investigators use that I believe in, that I do not believe they fake things. I was sitting out in the front steps, and there were no kids around, just thankfully the break in the kids. We got a gazillion kids. The 1 year I don't buy a bunch of candy. I bought some, but over the 5 years we've been here, we've been lucky if we've had 20. We ran out of my bags. I made up 40 little bags because I put little goodies and all kinds of candies and chips and stuff. That's gone. Anyways, I turned one of them on and I literally heard, "It's Halloween," that kind of voice over it. So how did it know it was Halloween?
I had Help Paranormal last year. I didn't care for it, but not that it didn't work. I just didn't care for it.
That wasn't my favorite either.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure it does. There was one, I think it was Huff Paranormal on.
No.
I am not a fan of that one at all. It's not an app. It's an actual person who built a spirit box.
I like Steve. I've met Steve. I like him.
Yeah, I don't care for it at all. I mean, I mean, you get what it's, I mean, if you like it, you like it. I'm not saying don't do it. Don't watch it just because I did it, just because I didn't do
How
something.
about just do your research?
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to
That's I agree with you, Lorilei. That's the main thing. Research everything before you use it, just so you know how to use it and what you're in for. Other than that, you guys, for those listening, we do have a Facebook group, and it is called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel. Please go ahead and join that group, and you can put show ideas in there. You can share any of your spooky pictures, your spooky videos. You can see other people's stuff in there. Once we get up to at least 200 people, we will start. Lorilei and I will figure out a time to go live in the group quite a bit, so we can have some fun with you guys, do some readings, and talk about stuff that we can't talk about here on the air. So please make sure you go ahead and join that. Outside of that, happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you are doing.
Yeah, I forgot to say that, David. Yes, you're right. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I just got my little ghosts in the background hanging there. I was having a day today. I mean, my day was not spooky, but it was scary. It was just a scary day, but it's about over with it all.
Well, let's say hi to everybody, and then we can jump in.
Yeah, let's say hi, and then we'll talk about whatever we want to.
These are my Halloween crew behind me here. So let's start at the top there. So Michelle Wilfong, first one here tonight, and she's managing things over on TikTok. So thank you guys, and thank you, Michelle. We got Mish, like I said, over in the future in Australia. There already had Halloween. It's All Saints Day over there already. So she's at work, so she had to head back to work. We got Heidi Gall. Michelle Wilfong said, watching on David's on the TV. I'm going to go over to TikTok. Okay. Kathy Hanley Little says, cool costumes. Connie Martin says, hello. Happy Halloween. You both look amazing. Thank you. Heidi Gall said, hi, watching here and also watching UFO Network on my TV. A multitasker. We love it. Right, Dave?
That's right.
Yeah. We've got Ruth Kleber. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi to one another. We love that about our chat. And Connie just said, I just finished giving out candy here in Toronto. There aren't that many kids tonight. Honestly, Connie, I am telling you, I've been here for 5 years before the word we can't say that we went through over the last almost 4 years ago. Apparently, there used to be over 200 kids in this neighborhood. Like, we were lucky, even when it's been a warm Halloween. I think our average is about 18. We are almost out of candy. I thought this year I'm not buying a big bunch of candy. I bought enough for 40 kids. We're almost out. So we're probably going to be getting more kids. I think it's slowing down a little bit, but they started at 4:15. They never started. I know, that was early. So Heidi says, happy Halloween to Lorilei and David. So thank you. And Heidi Gall, always share your shows. Yes, you do. So thank you. I don't always get to say thank you. So thank you, Heidi. I've seen that. I'm sure Dave has too. We've got Stone Hobbit. Marissa Brill says she loves costumes. And Howie/Ed Odell says, look at you, sexy people. And Jackie Lane's here. Let's see. He's tipping his top hat, Howie. I want to also give him a shout out too. He has the Riff Nation Network, has incredible podcasts and shows over there, including the one he has, which is the Orion Effect, with his amazing co-host and a friend of mine, Rhonda Harris. And Dave and I have been on there a few times. Heidi Gall says, Sean Kelly mentioned a free Spirit Box app. I need to ask him. We've got Nicole Thomas Rhyme. I played with GhostTube on my phone. I like GhostTube. And Howie says, yeah, agreed. Don't like it either. I think that's the Hope box or whatever you were talking about there, Dave, that one. Yeah, it could have been also the Huff Paranormal. Heidi Gall says, I found one on Google Play Store that I believe worked. That's the beauty in having an Android, is they never used to have good apps, but they do have many more better quality apps in the iPhone, which Dave and I both have. Right, Dave? Yeah. Actually, Howie says he prefers Hope Paranormal. So whatever one we were saying. And Heidi says, didn't have one here the last couple of years. My dad's maybe 10, meaning kids, I guess. Howie says, totally understand. We all have different ways and how we go about it. Absolutely. And then Nicole says, my is going to be okay from the break, going back to work tomorrow. Oh, we're so happy to hear that, Nicole.
Except for the going back to work thing.
Yeah, but I'm glad. I was thinking about you. I believe it or not, I was sending you and anybody else out there that needed healing energy, because I've broken my ankle on air on my previous network. Luckily, we could see one another, but you could just hear us. And we used to have a girl gang paranormal thing on Tuesday nights, late at night. And apparently I turned green. I didn't scream, but my ankle, I was in a cast boot for probably about 3 or 4 months. And yeah, it was not pretty. So my heart goes out to you, Nicole. And how he shared us. He said, now he's got to get his Riff Nation Network show ready. And I think he was trying to type Samhain. Some people say it's Samhain, but it's actually
Samhain, Saween, Sawo.
Everybody says it different. I think we got through everybody. I'm going to say hi quickly on TikTok. You guys, you're flying by. Please hang tight. I know it's not quite, you may see periods of me sitting here quietly. Please tap the screen for us. The more that join us, the better. And Dave and I will have our show over on here. I guarantee you, I have been working on this relentlessly for almost a month, and I was almost there, but apparently I have to consecutively go live for at least an hour. So that's happening this weekend. So hopefully by next Thursday, you're going to see both Dave and I on the same screen, and he'll be able to pull all his peeps in because we can co-host together. You will see us over here, and the more the merrier. It'll be great. Let's see, where are we here? So we've got, I see Michelle. Oh, we've got Immature, apparently. Shiv. I'm just going to say hi to a few more peeps, Dave, here. Thank you for tapping the screen, you guys. Really appreciate it. We get KCK. And yeah, I think I'm just going to jump up quickly here. I seen a paranormal name. I'm not sure who it was, but I saw paranormal. Oh, Phoenix. Welcome, everybody. We're really happy to have you. So, Dave, where do we want to go with the spooky? Where does our audience want to go with the spooky?
Yes, where do you guys want to talk about? I was just thinking today as I was going through.
Wayne.
Hi, Wayne. I think that for me, I was thinking about this today. You know what? Now, being a medium is not spooky. I mean, I'm sorry, you guys, it's not spooky. But investigating can be spooky. And I was just thinking to myself, I think it's high time that David goes back out and does some investigations in houses in that era, because I've become so complacent in it after the years. You know what I mean? I'm always used to being on the positive side of everything, like just doing mediumship readings, doing loved ones, instead of actually like spirit boxes and talking to.
Well, we do have, you guys, we have some spirit boxes here as well. So there are people that don't always know that this kind of technology exists. I know when I pulled it out on the Angel Rock, because I don't always do just strictly paranormal on that one. I talk about a lot of spiritual stuff, power, positivity. It's basically anybody, whatever they're doing, whether it's professionally and or personally, or making a positive change for humanity. So when we pulled the spirit box out, holy cow, people were blown away. Oh, Wayne, he goes, I'm no medium, but I'm steadily moving towards an XXL. Well, good for you. That's good, healthy eating. So
wonk, wonk, wonk. That was good though, Wayne. I got you.
But we do have some apps at work. So if you guys want us to do that, whatever you guys want to do, because Dave and I go live on TikTok on his channel from time to time as well. Sometimes we do readings. Sometimes we do more talking about the paranormal. I would love to know too. What do you think, Dave? Has anybody had something really spooky? Because especially this week and into next week, the veil notoriously is supposed to be thinner. That's what the talk in the paranormal, spiritual community, psychic community is. Have you guys had anything strange and spooky happen? I would love to know that. How about you, Dave? Have you had anything
lately? Actually, do you know what? Come to think of it, and I kid you not, you guys, I don't make this stuff up. When I was getting ready to do my hair, I know, I got to do this. It doesn't just turn out like this. I was in the mirror. And I was gonna tell you right away when we got on, but we started talking. Somebody whistled. Somebody went like that, and I because I had my blow dryer on and I heard it in my ear. So like wait, I turned off my blow dryer, and I was sitting there a minute, didn't hear any cats, any of the cats around, and it whistled again. It would. And so I did spend some time before we came on walking around my kitchen to see if there's something making that noise. I didn't find it yet. If I do find it, I'll update you guys next week. But that was quite a whistle today. And you know what? And it may have happened for a reason, because like I said, when I was getting ready and I came home, I didn't have the best day today. And I'm sitting there just, you know, how you just kind of whine and complain to yourself about crap. And I did. And as I did that, that's when I felt like stuff was happening. Almost like, it's almost like, did you ever hear, you know how like we have the Grinch, and not the Grinch, like we have, what's the guy who, Ebenezer Scrooge, like Scrooge, like he didn't believe in Christmas. So they sent the people to get him to, you know, believe in all that. I'm like, I'm waiting for me. I was all mad about Halloween, and I was like, I'm waiting for these monsters to show up my house going, what do you mean there's no Halloween? Let's go look at all the gore, you know? So I thought that's where the whistle started coming in and stuff. So it was quite interesting. I mean, I don't know what it is. And I've checked my closet over here. I got a closet next to me here twice, and I got my cubby hole, and I'm waiting for something to come out of that tonight. We'll see. But
well, I haven't had a lot. I'm surprised because I've been really busy this week, and I'm not complaining, but working, working with different clients, readings, sessions like that. And I can't even say that we really had anything strange or unusual happen with that. But you know what? Where I live, it just comes whenever it wants. Like sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes there's weird stuff. Sometimes there's not. So I don't know. Connie says, sadly, I had nothing. Marissa, I see your comment. I hope I say this right. Just let me say hello, Dave. Arcton and Shamani. Go ahead.
I was going to say, now, Marissa, and I did a reading with Marissa this morning, actually. And now now we had somebody come through, and I don't want to talk about it unless she gives me permission, but we had somebody come through who came through in such an odd way. It was really weird. And that's how my day's been going. I've been picking up odd stuff.
That's what I was picking up, like babies that hadn't made it over onto the earth side had passed away either as a stillbirth or, died very early in infancy, or there was a miscarriage, and getting a different sex than what the baby was that they thought it was, but it came through so strong. I had a lot of little kids come through. That was very interesting.
So she said I can say it, so I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay, well, let's we don't want to, let's try and stick real spooky. Is this something real spooky, Dave?
It's weird. It's not spooky. It wasn't scary, but it was weird. Okay, so anyway, I was doing a regular mediumship reading, and usually they come in and they do the whole hi, am this, that, and everything, and we go through. But right towards the end, we're getting ready to go, and it's like somebody took a stopwatch or a watch on a chain and just swung it in front of my face. And I got the weirdest feeling from this thing. And I went on and on. Anyway, it ended up being the grandfather, because I could not hear the name. And it was kind of weird for a minute, but he went by a nickname, which was Bear. Now, I was telling Marissa about how I feel about bears and how bears are all around me these last couple months. And it's like, it was funny that a spirit picked up on that and is like, yeah, my name's Bear. You want more bears in your life? Here you go. But yeah, it wasn't scary. It was kind of weird though. When I got done, I was like, I sat here for a minute and I thought, wow, that was really weird. It was like really synchronistic as far as that goes.
Well, I think that's how it works though, right? They, especially if they're looking for evidence as, doing this type of work, they're going to give you something that you can recognize and correlate. Now, you may not always correlate that experience with that name, but that's how it works, right? So I'm going to go a little higher up here because I wanted to answer this question. Kelly says, what is the best ghost box app? I honestly have to tell you, and I think Dave will second this, we're not experts in spirit boxes. So I like Ghost Tube, I like Necrophonic, I like Spirit Talker, I have an Ovulus that that does it. So I think you almost got to play with them or do some research or talk to somebody that if I think Howie ran over to his network, he has probably something Halloween going on over there, but Howie would probably know a bit more. Hang on. Jackie Lean wanted to share an experience. She says, I had a friend of mine have a strange experience. She said she closed her eyes and saw golden light. It scared her and she screamed. I was wondering if she was starting to channel. Any thoughts? Well, for me, first of all, I'll say this. Sorry, honey, over on TikTok, we're not taking anybody online. You're tuning in right now, listening to our podcast on the thing at the foot of the bed. It's our network Halloween party. If you want to join, I'm going to try and pop over and watch the chat over here from time to time. I'm watching a bunch of different spaces, but we can't have anybody on screen. Sorry about that. She could have been channeling, but I think she would best know, because I honestly have to say anything that's light and with gold to me is very positive. And there's many experiences she could have had, but all of that could have been positive. It feels like to me, you asking this, that this would be a yes, but anybody can channel, right? But some people are better at things than others. And she could have just been tuning into that. There's many different things which could have been.
Every human being channels. I mean, we do. Even if you don't know you are. Because even like music, art, a lot of it, you're channeling it from another artist joining in with you. I would say for that one, I don't believe she was. That's because I don't know. I never heard of anybody starting to channel by, because I channel and I've done channeling.
But everybody does it different. She was making
there's a difference, but it's the same. There's the same exact thing that happens to everybody. And it's usually, I can understand how she would be scared, but I don't think her scariness was like scared for her life. I think it was scared of like unknown thing. I think if she does that again, she should sit with it for a moment and see what happens.
It's only she's going to know. Like, we could tell her, but she's the one that's going to know. Because the first things that Dave and I asked people, and then we're going to get to Wayne's experience here. And we thank you guys for sharing it. Only she would know, but we always ask people, even if you haven't experienced the first time that you're not expecting, like something like this, we ask people, how did it make you feel? Obviously, it made you freak out. But after you calm down about it and thought about it, because to me, golden light, that's not something that's usually negative. She was making some kind of connection. It could have been with an angel, could have been with guides, could have been with a loved one. There's many other reasons why she would have had that experience.
I agree with Lorilei as far as she was probably having a connection as much as channel, because that's not channeling. Seeing a golden light, because when you're channeling, you don't see anything. You go away. And it's odd to explain.
Dave, because like I know, so I've seen people trance channel that go into a trance and can actually come in and out. Like everybody, it's different, but that isn't what people report. You're right. It might be part of the connection experience.
That's what I'm thinking. It's the connection. Yeah, she might be getting a connection in something. I would explore that connection, because I agree with Lorilei. It is. I don't think in my lifetime that I would see a beautiful golden light when it was something followed by something bad, Okay,
we're going to read Wayne's, and then we're going to go up one, and then we're going to go down here. And you guys over on TikTok, feel free to share your experiences. I don't know if we're not getting anybody coming through on Instagram yet, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden it'll kick in and we'll get 20 comments. So Wayne says, I had a bad experience with a Ouija board when I was 17. Had a good conversation going, and after a few days, the spirit said she wanted to, I haven't got my glasses on. Sorry, guys. Give me one sec here. I'm going to show it again. It's not going to show me. Wanted to meet me. I asked her how, and she replied, you have to die. Oh, wow. I wouldn't say that was a positive experience. Definitely would say that was a bad experience. To me, sounds like you might have been connecting with a lower vibrational entity, maybe, or you could have been connecting with an earthbound spirit. But I would say that it definitely wasn't somebody you'd want to meet, would you? That's how they want to meet you. I'd say, we're talking right now. Why do you have to meet me? We're speaking, we're communicating. What do you think, Dave?
I mean, yeah, or either that it might not have been scary. It might just been a smart aleck, because that's like the perfect smart aleck remark. It really is. Like you're channeling a dead person. How am I going to meet you? Die. Duh. That's how I feel it. But you know what? You got to go by what you felt about it too.
Good point. Yes.
Yeah, you do. You really have to go by what you felt by it. I would, as far as like Ouija boards, though. I mean, me and Lorilei we have the same opinion. I mean, it's not a toy, but it's you got to be able to use it. It means just you don't.
I don't think it's evil.
Yeah,
I think it's a tool.
You don't use a fork to eat soup. You know what I mean? It's like you got to know what
to use. It's a tool, but it's no different than there's so many other ways. And you guys have heard me talk about my analogy of Mr. I call him, say, John, hearing that somehow that a chainsaw is an excellent way to cut down a chain link fence, and somehow miraculously makes it to the hardware store, picks one out on his own, and actually figures out how to use it without reading the instructions. And then when he goes over to the chain link fence and he goes to cut it, and he's absolutely mind blown that it kicks back and cuts his arm off. Now, is the chainsaw evil? No, it's a tool. But the problem with John is John didn't have anybody show him how to do it. He didn't read the instructions. He didn't learn anything about the safety of using a tool like that. And that's kind of the analogy I use with the Ouija board. A Ouija board is not negative, but it has a lot of negative belief around it, and everything is energy, just like the Bible has a lot of positive energy associated with it. And people have had some negative experiences. I believe people when they say they have. You can open things, is what I'll say. You can open things.
Yeah, I would say though. I mean, like, I think I'll butcher your name, so I'm not going to say it, but I think it's Arktinen. Arktinen.
I was trying to say hi to him. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say
A.
I'm going to call you Big A. Yeah. So you have a spirit board Ouija, never use it, don't know if it's safe to use or should I try it. This is my recommendation if you're curious about it. Listen, if you're doing anything and your intention is to contact the spirit world, the simplest thing to do is a small prayer of protection for yourself. Just do a prayer of protection for yourself. Your intention works better than anything to just say, I'm only working with, love, light, and consciousness, if that's what you want. If you don't want that, then don't do the prayer. But there's also an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony. You should always close something down. Not that, and it's not that tons of bad stuff are going to happen if you forget, but here's what happens. Because we're human and because these experiences are subjective, they are not objective. They are subjective, which means that a lot of them are happening within us. You need to close it down. You got to tell yourself. It's the same thing as if you leave your house and you left the stove on. That would not be a good thing. You want to check the stove, make sure it's turned off. Same for a Ouija board. When you're all done, you just do a little closing thing that you're done.
Oh, I think, too, that you should not go in a state of fear.
So if you're really
sure about it or you're nervous, have somebody that's well-versed in using it show you how to open it, how to set boundaries, because we should all have boundaries, whether we're working with the spirit world or not. So I love what David said about your intention, because intention is everything. But if you're going in there and setting intention, but coming from a fear base that you're just not sure or you're nervous, have somebody have you feel confident with it, show you how to use it, how to close it down, and set the parameters, set up protection. Whenever I've used it, I don't sit down at Ouija boards, but I use a pendulum. It's a communication thing. You can draw a circle, put the alphabet, and put it in the middle, and it'll spell out what you need. I call in Archangel Michael for myself, but I do set the parameters. We protect our space before, what we only want coming in, anything negative, such as Wayne's experiencing, whether it was being a smart aleck or not, right? If you don't want to have that kind of conversation, you set that parameter that only anything that's meant for my highest good and in love and light is welcome here. Anything else is, don't even bother, don't try, right? So
they're not,
if you're not sure, always have someone show you. That's why I use a chainsaw, because most of us know it's ridiculous to use a chainsaw to cut down a chain link metal fence. But there's some people that may not, right? And how many of us, I've been guilty of this, right? This big instruction book comes with something and you get, like, for example, I'll use my Cricut machine. It cuts laser, it cuts vinyl and all kinds of materials, but you have to use a computer and everything with it. And what did I do in the beginning? I was like, I don't want to read this whole darn book. Watched a few videos, and then when I ran into a problem, I was like, oh crap, now I got to go back and read the book. I should have just done it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Have someone show you. So Heidi says, I was going to bed the night before last during meditation, saw something black and red go by my door. I acknowledged and continued with my meditation, then heard, tell him I said hi. It was scary, but you giggled. But everything isn't negative, right? It could be scary, but it doesn't mean it's always negative either.
Yeah, that's the one thing I always try to get through to people. Negativity is in the eye of the beholder, you know, for the most part. I mean, there's some stuff we'll all agree on.
Oh, I think there's negative things out there. I've experienced them personally myself. But the thing is, you know, people, I downloaded a meme today somebody had shared, and I wish I would have posted. I didn't have time. But I'll have to grab my other phone. I almost did the one with the TikTok. I got 3 devices going here, you guys. Hang on. So it's actually quite funny because what it says, it's right near the front here. It's a meme that says, hang on, something about, no, I will find it, but it has to do with ghosts. And it basically said that if you're going to be a ghost and come to my house, make sure if you're going to be acting up and moving stuff around that you grab a broom.
Yeah.
So great.
There's one about dusting too. I don't dust because when we die, we go back to dust, and you want to suck up anyone you know in the vacuum.
That's a good one, because I always say the dust is going to be there. Hi, Julie Jean Bassett.
Julie Jean Bassett, thank you for being this. I agree with you. Very rarely is it negative or evil. It is. It's very rare. It's extremely rare. That's why when Shivani, when you said, is it better to use a Ouija board at home someplace else other than home? I'm going to tell you, this is my opinion, and Lorilei will give you hers. Energy is energy. It's kind of like you don't have to go to the graveyard to visit your loved ones. They're everywhere. Energy is everywhere. So it really doesn't matter where you do it. I think it matters the intention of what we talked about. I think that if you're going to use a Ouija board for the first time, my belief is do a prayer protection. Just ask a question or two. If you feel uncomfortable, shut it down. That's it.
The other thing that I forgot to add that I think is vitally important, you need to be grounded. You need to be grounded before
you'd be surprised at how many spiritual people are not grounded.
Before you do any kind of, whether it's spiritual work, paranormal investigation, your house is haunted, you've got activity, whatever it is, you need to be grounded. And that's a number one thing. Now, I like what Wayne said here. He said they're not evil, meaning Ouija boards.
Yeah.
A plane is not evil, but if you can't fly one, it most certainly will turn out badly. 100% agree with that. Absolutely. I want to give Julie Jean Bassett a shout out. I always do. She's helped me a lot. Incredible animal communicator with my own animals. I've taken my animal communication course with her. She has one coming up. I remembered November 8th and 9th, you guys. So if you've ever wondered about it or wanted to learn how to do it, you can connect with her on Facebook under Julie Jean Bassett or juliejeanbassett.com. She's also an incredible shamanic practitioner. And I've had a session with her, and it was life-changing. So if you were looking for a phenomenal healer, including being able to connect with your pets, either earthside or also that have passed, and giving them a whole heck of a lot of healing, she's your lady, let me tell you. So we've got Julie Evans, and I want to say thank you for hanging out with us, because I know it is almost, I believe, 1 a.m. over there. So you guys are past midnight. She's okay.
You guys are already in the witching hour.
So Heidi says, I have recently seen Ouija boards at Target and Five Below for sale. Terrible idea to sell them as toys. I can tell you, I was in Toronto for an autism conference for my son years ago, and they have a Disney store there. And I still remember this. Like, my son was really little at the time. I think he was about 4, and he's going to be 27 in March. Right front and center, out in front of the Disney store, how they display things, blue Mickey Mouse Ouija boards for boys and pink Minnie Mouse ones for girls. And it comes from Parker Brothers, the original board. It doesn't where the concept came from, but when it was marketed.
Gosh, if in that statement, in that, I don't know what's worse, marketing a Ouija board to people or making one for a boy and one for a girl. That's so quick. If anybody knows, spirits don't have a gender. So that's the funny thing. But I understand when they do it.
But they do come through, say, if you're connecting through a medium, who they will attribute characteristics to who they were in life, so that you know that's who you're connecting with. But David is absolutely
exactly. That's exactly. Well, ghosts do it too. I mean, I've talked to ghosts before where I'm like talking to the ghost. I'm like, I know that ghost is coming to me as a male. So yeah, they do. But and guess what Wayne says? Remember, ghosts are people too. Why do people forget that, Wayne?
I don't know.
Me and Lorilei have the biggest pet peeve about when we watch paranormal shows.
Well, here's one right here. Marissa says, I had to stop watching a certain show on the Travel Channel because everything was evil and demons. I already know who it is, and I call him Mr. Tight T-shirt wearing. I won't say the rest because it's not radio friendly. And I'm sorry if you like that show. It can be very entertaining, but I can't tell you how many people I have met.
Yeah.
David and I say there's ways to tell without being mean where somebody is in their paranormal journey.
Yeah, there is. And there really is. And you know what? Search YouTube. There's a lot of really good. And Lorelei's got one. And I've watched the one that Lorilei likes. And I have to agree with her. I'll watch that one because even though
those are my boys.
Even though sometimes I'll watch it and I'll be like, that's silly. But I get it because I will tell you this. I don't care how much you've talked to the other side or a medium. When there's a jump scare, there's a jump scare, and that's just how that goes. So,
but you know why I like them? Okay, so I love, and you guys have heard me talk about it many times, Paranormal Nightmare on Friday nights on YouTube. They do have a TV show. Don't ask me what network because I don't get cable, but it's Rocky, Sean, and how could I forget his name? Josh. The three of them are brothers. They experienced, they say, horrible paranormal activity as young boys. And Sean in particular was extremely targeted as a young boy. And so when you watch the show at first, and Sean has gotten better, like when I first started watching it a few years back, I was like, my God, this guy's a baby. He's so jumpy. And it's always like, oh, I'm scared. Once you know his story, you know why. And these guys have done this long before they had a TV show. And I'm not pointing a finger or judging anybody that say when you're helping somebody with the paranormal and you have to charge for gas or anything like that. I understand that. But these boys have never taken a penny, and they've done it for years, and they go to help families that are experiencing extremely horrible paranormal activity. And the other reason why I believe in them, for example, last weekend, they were filming this weekend's episode, but they were live on Saturday night. So you saw what was coming. They just left the camera running too. They had to go change batteries and stuff. Like, they're streaming live while they're doing it. And whatever comes through, comes through. And if it's something, that's going to add to the story, or they've caught something really phenomenal on, because it takes them quite a few hours while they're investigating, they'll put that into the episode. So to me, you're not in it for the money. You're not in it for the fame or the glory. You don't have an ego. And I don't know them personally, but what I'm seeing on camera. The other thing is, like I say, they go live and they show you what they're doing. They don't plan it. They're just like, hey, yeah, you know what? Let's go live. Let's talk to everybody out there. And they go live other times too. So to me, I really believe that they do their very best to help other people. And I think they really do try to show what's going on there. If there isn't something going on, they don't fake it. There's nothing going on. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys... I think this is their official channel on TikTok. There's Sarah Winslow. They do impersonations of Zach Bagans, and she's the one who dresses up like that. And they are so.
The one you sent me, one of them?
Yes, they are hilarious. Yeah. I just love watching them because they take that stuff and they bring out the silliness that we don't like in the real ones, to just show you how ridiculous.
You know who else is funny? You know who else is funny that does it? Not just ghost shows, but they do it with all kinds of stuff. It's called Djibouti Dubs. It's my partner Del who found them. It's JAB as in boy, OOD as in dog, Y, and then D as in dog, A, B as in boy, S as in Sam. Or sorry, DUBS Dubs. I'm telling you, some of those things those guys do. And it's voiceovers of commercials and TV shows, but they have the Guy Fieri ones are really funny. And they have definitely done some of the Mr. Tight T-shirt wearing gentlemen in Las Vegas.
I watched that when that show first came out, the very first came out. I watched it for a while, but it's one of those things you can really see the shift in what happened. And I'm just like, I art I'm just gonna call you Ark because that's gonna just be easier for me.
I'm going there. I was just going to acknowledge Nicole says she loves them too. She loves Paranormal Nightmare. She loves how they help people. Okay, so Ark, I was just going there next, Dave.
Ark says, I'm not afraid of ghosts. My grandma used to say, you should be afraid of the living, not the dead. I had my grandfather said the same thing to all of us. My aunt Beverly, I loved her. I miss her so much. She lived across from a huge graveyard back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was huge graveyard. Her was right across. And when we were little, we went over there. And I remember my mom out in the car saying, oh my gosh, she moved right across from a graveyard and she was all spooked out. And my grandfather said, it's not the dead you need to be afraid of, it's the living. And I've remembered that all my life as well, too. That's a really good saying. I think it's really
well. The other thing I wanted to add that I did have highlighted, and Julie was right too, Julie Jean Bassett, was never on top of when you're working in this realm, besides being grounded, setting your boundaries. I don't do a lot of spiritual work if I'm exhausted or I've got a lot of pain or I'm not feeling well for sure. So I try to make sure that my vibrational energy, if you will, is at a good level. Setting boundaries, setting protection, opening and closing the session, and then being hydrated. Definitely. So where was I going with this? I just saw something. Where did it go? I just saw. I think I missed it. Darn. Kelly says they're selling on Amazon a religious Ouija board. I've seen that too, believe it or not. I've seen that.
I know.
It's a communication device. So somebody probably figured, why not? Right?
Yeah, well, they're just capitalizing off all of it and trying to make some money. But, really, I mean, I did the pencil. What was that? Remember last year? I did one.
Yes, you did. I remember that. Yes, you did. I have an angel board. It's not a Ouija board, but it's an angel board. I can go grab it, you guys, but it's huge.
And it doesn't look like I've got this angel board, so that's not going to be spooky.
Well, I didn't mean it was spooky, but when somebody's saying a Ouija board, how do they word it? But basically a spiritual one. This is a communication board that you use with angels, but it doesn't look like a Ouija board. That's all I was going to say.
Oh, I like Jackie's comment.
You and I are on the same page. I was just about to highlight. Oh, we got Michelle DeRoche sitting in the back. Let's bring her in. You should just popped on,
hey, Michelle.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, it's the Black Hat Society. Look at that.
Wayne's in here having a field day in here. He's always so entertaining in the chat. You guys all know Michelle DeRoche. I am sure she has the Outer Realm with Amelia Pisano right after this second night tonight. Wednesday night's the first night of it. Always great guests. She is extremely well versed in the paranormal. And she's our station manager too. So I'm glad you're the only one that's popped in so far.
Oh, well, I think it's because everybody has kids too early. Like
I know.
Like they finally just seem to be thinning out now. Wayne's manning the fort. So it's like, all right, I'm here.
He's in here chatting with us.
I did not have one child come to this in this neighborhood today. There's just nobody trick-or-treats anymore.
Oh, really? Here
we have so many kids. First time ever. And first year I said, you know what? I'm not buying a whack of candy because I end up throwing most of it out. Almost all our candy was gone. Like I don't know. I haven't heard too many since, but I made up 40 bags. We usually have about 15 kids and it was gone by 6:30, 6:45.
Well, a special little someone that I was waiting for showed up tonight. And let's just say he got dump the bowl. Give a child all the candy. We're almost done.
That's
Michelle, since she's here, we got a fresh set of opinion. What's your opinion on Ouijas?
Well, I'm sort of the mind that it's more about intention than anything else, right? Like I do, because I mean, let's face it, you have voice recorders, Ouija boards, pendulums, you've got other types of spirit boards, you've got ghost boxes. Again, just voice recorder. I think if you put out the intention of wanting to communicate with something or someone, you'll get it. I don't think the Ouija board is the only way to do it. It's probably just the most popular way to do it.
I agree. Yeah, we were just talking about, because it's like, even like with divination, I love divination. Divination is just fun. I just love it. And I
but
have
you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I have a crystal ball, and somebody said, and I had the crystal ball because I like the crystal ball.
I love crystal balls.
Yeah,
I do.
exactly.
And
So
scrying.
somebody said to me, "Do you need a crystal ball in order to do scrying?" And I said, "No, you can scry into a Q-tip if you have the right intention."
Oh, for sure. I have an antique black mirror that I do it with.
Oh yeah, that's now I have to say,
fire, water.
My favorite is like what you said. I've been trying to get hold of an antique bowl that's black, because I painted the mirror, I painted the bottom of the bowl, but I can still do it just with clear water. But I just like the ritual behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to show people, because they think
ancient.
a Ouija board. This is a pendulum, and you guys, once you know about it, this is my stupid pet trick. So I'm going to try not move my arm, and I got to remember to breathe. I'm telling this to move back and forth.
Don't breathe. Don't breathe.
Yeah, not too hard. Now I'm going to tell it to stop. Now I'm going to tell it to turn in circles.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get it to stop. I'm not magic. I remember once I did this on a podcast with someone, and people were, "Oh my God, she's a witch. She's a witch." I'm not, but that's what everything's energy.
The one that probably makes me the most, because I love my dowsing rods, and I use my dowsing rods. I've used my dowsing rods when I went to do paranormal investigations, and I went outside and I've looked for certain things. I've with my intention and using them. But I see so many people on TikTok using dowsing rods, just asking one question, like, well, somebody will ask a question. Can you find out if I get drugs for my cancer? Oh, the dowsing rod said no. And then they move on. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Stop it. There's better things to use them for.
But I think that's true. I thought that's, sorry, go ahead, Michelle. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, no, I agree. Totally.
I was just going to say, I have a delay. David's used to it, but I don't know what it is. And I'm not, you and I are in Canada. Dave's in, well, kind of almost the southern U.S., right? Where you are,
North. I'm on the East Coast, way out here.
Yeah, so he's used to it, but I know it always seems so. I apologize if that happens. I start talking, but this was when you popped in, I saw you there. This was a good comment. Jackie Lane said, "I'm a teacher, and I had a little girl this morning share she has a special talent. She can see ghosts." So I'm going to start with Michelle, and then Dave, and then I'll add my thoughts. But what's your thoughts on that, Michelle?
Talent of seeing ghosts. I think it's great. They do not discourage it. If you're not comfortable with it, don't encourage it. But I think it's really important that we look at children, because they are little mini psychics running around, and it's good to not discourage it. Just hear them out and see. I mean, I grew up in that type of a family. My father would be kind of like, "Now I'm sure it's just the house settling," and my mother would be like, "That's okay, dear," and show me pictures to see if it was anybody that I would recognize. It doesn't mean that we had conversations about it. I did get the conversation of, "You don't want to tell anybody because it's just going to think you're strange." I am strange.
How about you, Dave?
Yeah, the same thing. I agree with Michelle, and the same as if your kid does see that, because all of us, usually I don't know what the exact day it ends, but by the time you're 9 years old, you've had everybody in the world tell you everything that happens outside of the physical is make believe. And then you believe it, because remember this, you guys, seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. If you can believe in ghosts and you believe in that and you got that, you will see it. If you wait to see it, it's not going to. I'm the same way, though, as that little girl. I didn't see the ghost as a child, but I grew up with like the physical medium stuff. So everything happened in our houses. Our houses were, well, I guess scary to everybody else. I don't look back at it as a scary memory. I look back at it as it was unsettling when I was a child. But my parents never said to me, "Oh, it's a demon," and all this stuff. They didn't. They just let it happen. Now, when I first seen my first apparition, the first apparition that looked like a human being standing in front of me was like a little 6-year-old girl. That one got me for a moment, because it said my name and it was standing right there. And then
that makes it personal, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, that's the whole thing. It said my name. I think if it didn't say my name, it would have been different. But no, then we investigated that house later on. We found out there was a child who died in that house. But she wasn't mean. She was cool. I mean, I thought she was really cool. But she went in my parents' house, into my parents' bedroom. And then my mom and dad used to get woken up by people calling their names in the middle of the night. And they used to yell at me. They're like, David, quit bringing these things with us. I'm like, I'm not bringing anybody anywhere. They're just
But it's like a little magnet, right?
Yeah, y'all are open to it. If you're open to it, if you're open to something, your results are going to be a lot better.
Well, what I was going to add is, Jackie, depending on her age too, because all of us know that kids, even especially just before they go to school, right? That's usually when we hear, depending on how early the child talks, about the imaginary friend. I really believe that all very young children can see spirit just like animals can. And I bet, now it would be kind of tough to do that as a teacher, I'm sure, because some parents might not be very happy about it, but it's very nice that she can trust you and tell you about this special talent. But I bet there's probably more than one child, depending on the age as well, that probably is able to see as well.
Yeah.
If any of you guys in the audience have questions about ghosts or anything, or questions you want to ask Michelle, she probably does a lot more paranormal investigations than I do at this point.
We all know a little bit. That's why it's nice when you have a bit of a paranormal.
It's nice to have a blend. Yeah.
So I haven't done it in a long time.
Wayne says there's a book. There's also a book with a title, something to the effect of Paranormal Investigations for Toddlers.
It's true. And they ask you to fill out. You can fill it out as you go along.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to do it now.
Well, it is, but
it's on eBay, I think, so, or it's on Amazon.
Oh my God.
We did it on an open mic one night, and we are just like, what is this?
I guess it depends who wrote it. Though, like the kid's not going to read it, but
the toddler can't write, chances are, and they get you check mark things off and fill it out.
Well,
I thought that was a good idea.
When I was a kid, there's a funny thing. I don't even think Lorilei knows this.
Okay.
When I was in school, I was the weird kid everybody hated. Okay, but I was weird. Well, I was talking to dead people, and I was like, "Yeah, that kid's crazy. You tell him to go away." But we had to draw pictures. And I just handed in my blank piece of paper. And I was not, nowadays you'd understand why I did it. You'd say, that's David. He's a smart aleck. But when I was a kid, I handed it to him and she said, what is that a picture of? And I said, it's a ghost. And she said, there's nothing on the paper. I said, well, you can't see the ghost. And that was where it all started for me. It started, I was like, wow. That lady, that teacher was not happy with me. And
because you outwitted her.
Yeah, well, and then I had to shut up. Now when they started to want to ask me about stuff like that, I'd have to be like, "Oh, I don't know what I was talking about. It was a joke." But it was serious. You can't see it. That's what it is.
Just pass over the weird kid. Just don't ask him anything.
I was going to say hi, first of all. Sorry, guys, to Woodward Hypnosis. He was on the Angel Rock on Monday night, Dr. Fred. And we got Andrea over on Instagram. Sorry. Stop, guys. People are starting to share some of their spooky experiences. And I know you probably heard this, Michelle, from Wayne, but this is kind of creepy. And my dog, there must be spirit here. My dog comes over every time there's spirit. Always. She just came over and then now backed away. So he says, my sister had a natural earth-made crystal ball. Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. She had it for years. Every so often the ball would sweat. There would be a pool around it. And the next day something horrible would happen to her, her friends, or her family. She finally gave it away. What kind of crystal?
That was his free spirit sister too. She was like really witchy woo woo. She was fun. She is fun. I love crystals from.
So do I. Yeah.
This is one of my guys, and he's a smoky quartz. And he's from Peru.
I love that one. It's a crystal.
Well, you know what? We had a guest who came on to talk about it, and I often looked at them, and he said, you have to look at one and see if it resonates with you. So I'm looking at all kinds of them, and I kept coming back to this guy. He's got a real pointy little nose. I don't know if you can actually see his little pointy nose, but I wanted the old style, like Mayan type South American.
Did he give you a name? Did he give you a name?
No, because I have not actually meditated with him yet.
Okay.
But as soon as I researched him and the type of crystal in the area, because I have ancestry from Peru, I know, crazy, but I do, found that out. So I I kept coming back to it. And when I researched it, everything that lined up with the quartz itself, the area, was totally me. And I didn't even question it. I purchased it. And I know it's a he. It's a he for sure. But I haven't meditated with him yet. And I'm just, because you know my life.
Yeah.
I have time to meditate, let alone trying to meditate and pry a name out of her crystal skull.
So. I love your crystal. I got a skull too, but I got a crystal dragon.
I love dragons.
Yeah, and I do too. I do too.
I found it, Dave. I found it, the resin one, but this is beautiful. You got to tell a story.
The story behind this is really odd. I was talking to a friend of mine in Messenger. But anyway, while we were in Messenger, you know how you can change the background of it? Well, yes. I changed it to Chinese dragon just because I got that impulse, and I changed it. They're like, what are you doing? I said, I changed it to dragon. And then I was thinking about dragons and all that. And then a friend of mine who's a crystal dealer, she gets crystals for all over the world. She's really good. And she texted me and she said, David, I'm at a crystal show and I'm buying something for you. I want to send it to you. And I just want you. And I said, oh, what is it? You know, she's like, I'm not going to tell you. You can just have it. I want to give it to you. It's calling out your name. And I said, okay. 2 days later, after all the dragon stuff, in the thing came the dragon head. Wow. And I had told her, I said, oh my God, it was weird. I'm also I love dragons too. I used to study dragon energy a long time ago, like the siblings of dragon, all kinds of stuff.
It's wild. It's wild.
It is wild.
Oh my God. I resonate with bloody dragons. Like I always have my whole life. My son, one of my kids do. Like it's just people like reptilian. Yeah, okay, like reptilian, whatever. I'm down.
Yeah, but
I love the reptilian. Yeah, I love reptilians. See, my first alien encounter was a reptilian, and I was like 6.
How'd that go? How did that go?
People ask me about that. And you know what? Here's how it went. I call him the man of the South. He's in my book. I was like 7 years old. I was in North Carolina here where I live now. My dad, I was in the family, and my dad picked me up to take me to bed. And he said, you got to go to bed. And I was too lazy, and I didn't want to walk. So he picked me up. So I was looking over his shoulder down the hallway. And all of a sudden it was like, Michelle, time completely stopped. It's just everything stopped. And he stepped out. And I remember exactly what he looks like. And all that was kind of said back and forth was, we're here. We're just letting you know we're here. And I was like, okay, cool. Okay,
what else are you going to say? No.
And then everything went back to normal. And it stayed with me for a long time. And they would come in dreams every once in a while, but that's like Lorilei knows. Whenever somebody talks so bad about reptilians, I'm like,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I've never had. I know people talk about them, but I've always been the defender of them because it's like that dude was really cool.
I've heard people say that.
Yeah. I always say to David, though, Michelle, is I think like as it is with humans or anything else, any species has positive and possibly more negative because I don't get along with reptilians.
I do know that later on it was said that he's like, he does not reside here on Earth. Because I'd asked that when I got older. I said, do you reside on Earth? Are you guys underground? All that? They're like, no. We don't reside here,
right?
But he didn't anyway. But yeah, that was my first. But that got me into dragons later on. They have the same energy as this. It was almost. It's like it's very authoritative. Can be very protective. It can also be very nurturing too. But it's in a weird way. It's kind of like I'll give you something to cry about.
I was going to say gruff.
Yeah, gruff is a good, it's a gentle word. Yeah, it's a good word.
I have dragons protecting my property, and all my tattoos that I have drawn, it's hard to turn my yarn, that's got a bunch of symbology I drew. I channeled that. And then I have a big yin yang type one on the back of my neck here. I've always resonated with them, but fairies and unicorns and all that kind of stuff. But
I just like them. They're the keepers of ancient wisdom, and they traverse between the realms, and they give you that protection and that wisdom. And I think they've just got a bad rap through time because, they just look big and foreboding. And I think they're spectacular.
Oh, they are.
They're just like big scaly puppies in the sky.
That's I look at them like that too. They look like a big menace. They're like a big menacing dog that really loves his owner.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like a guard
really
dog.
Smart ones.
They're kind of like a guard dog, though. And if you, like, you guys know, I get activity where I go. And once they're loyal to you, I find they will protect you. I have the goosebumps. I have them on the corners. I have them at the front door, the back. I even have asked some to stay over top of the roof. And
for both of you, chrysocolla, do you know what chrysocolla is?
No, that's a new one for me.
Okay. Chrysocolla to me has that energy, that dragon energy for me. It's very calming to me. This was also gifted to me by somebody. When I first, I was going to do a gallery event as a medium in a store, and the lady asked me. She said, "Not that I'm being rude or anything, but do you mind if I get a reading from you so I can like vet you?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, duh, yeah, that's totally cool." So anyway, I gave her this reading. We're on the phone for like a long time, and she said, "I need to give you something for that reading." I said, "No, that's part of the process of vetting. You can vet. That's cool." She said, "Nope. When you come into my shop, I want you to pick out anything you want." And this thing, and I'm not I love crystals, but I'm not a big, huge, I got crystals everywhere person. I looked at this one and I said, I've got to have that one. This one, if you hold it in your hand, it's really strong. It's real powerful. It's got that dragon energy. Plus, I was telling people, they're like, is it protecting? I'm like, well, if you whip it at somebody, it's going to hurt.
It's going to project, all right. Projectile.
Yeah, look up chrysocolla. It's a very strong energy. It's very strong.
I thought this was an interesting comment since we're getting into the bit of the spooky. So Heidi shares, last year my granddaughter told my daughter and I for over a year that there was a guy in the tree. I just recently spoke with my neighbor whose son was saying the same thing a year ago. I think she said further down she saged. We both have cleansed and haven't heard anything about the man. But what's your thoughts on that? If somebody runs into something like that, like luckily Heidi knows some of the things that you can do, but we all run into people who go through this. So what's some suggestions that you might have for somebody like that, besides get a hold of somebody that deals with this?
After you, Michelle, you go first.
Thank you. I think if you can properly ground yourself, it's a lot harder for things to attach to you. First off, even people, because people, we can't help it. We have baggage, we have bad days, and sometimes we latch onto energy or we project energy, and it can affect us in different ways. But I think if you're coming across something like that, if you made a practice of just grounding, you'd be okay. And again, I'm really about mindset and intention and things like that. I mean, I've taught people how to get rid of stuff just through changing.
But these were kitties, though, right? So you got a parent trying to support a kid.
But you can ground your kids. You've got to
thank you for saying that.
Yeah, you can bring them right into your grounding.
Yeah, you can. For me, grounding is all about being very present on this earth and realizing, okay, you're not just a spirit, you're literally having this experience. Stay grounded, be here. Yes. And I agree. You can change that with a child. Wait, where's that there's another part to that question I want to answer, but I might not know what it was.
What did you see, Dave? I'll scroll up if you want.
What was the question you just had on there before that?
That was the one from Heidi. Hang on, I'll go up a bit higher. There you go. Is that it?
Heard. Yes. The guy in the tree. I am on the same page as these two are too. It's okay to see those things once. That's just like telling a child, oh, that's just make believe. You shouldn't do that. I say you should acknowledge what the child says. And you can ask the child, did it say it was going to hurt you or something like that? And that way, if the child said yes, then you can work with the child in another way. But it is all about grounding and grounding your child too, and telling your child, hey, guess what? Nothing can touch you if you don't want it to. And it's totally fine to explore these things.
It's a scary thing, though, because we've all had paranormal since we were little. You two have had, like, at least you could share it with your mom, Michelle, as you shared, and Dave, your parents are cool. I couldn't tell anybody. And I remember, I always say I'm going to be 50 or 60 in next August. But the thing is, I remember as a 3 and 4-year-old, and I remember the lady's name and talking to her. And she actually told me how many kids I was going to have and what their names were. But I got pinched one night. One of my my paranormal experiences, the rain was blowing. So this would have been about 68, 69. I've told this story. The house is still standing. When Carrie Lynn was here, we didn't have enough time. I said we should have went and checked because it's still standing. But my mom back then steamed off 37 layers of wallpaper to get to the plaster. That's how old this was. But it was a really horrible stormy night. And I still remember this like it was yesterday. And I was terrified. And back in the day, they had those ugly gauzy curtains and then the big psychedelic flowers on the wall, right, for a little girl. And all of a sudden I was hearing something hitting the window because the wind was blowing and raining. I always hated thunder. And it sounded like a branch tapping. And I remember looking out from my covers, and it was like a claw, and it was going down the window. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling this story. And I remember hiding under there going, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Something grabbed me. It was not me. I've searched my memory many times. Right here, not quite on my butt cheek, right where your belt would go. I thought I had lost about 5 of my 9 lives that night, and I couldn't because they don't believe in that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I say that though because there are kids, though, right?
My grandfather, after he passed, my parents said, "Yeah, they're like, you go stay with your grandmother for a week." What? That side of the family, we really weren't that close to them, right? So it's like you have to go stay with your grandmother for a week, and things have to get settled. I'm like, okay, so I go, and I'm probably, I'm probably about 14 at that point. And so I'm not skittish because I've been seeing things forever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So of course, they had separate beds back then. So God, I'm aging myself, aren't I? Okay, anyway.
We're all the same age. We've figured this out. Most people hanging out here too.
Okay, good. Because anyway, so I had to sleep in his bed, and my grandfather was a prankster. So my grandmother, we had to go to bed early. I'm like, great. So I'm laying there and laying there and laying there. And all of a sudden I see this shadow, like this form, which looked like my grandfather because he was very heavy set. And like then he disappears. I'm watching the door going, all right, no worries. Anyway, he poked me in the back, and I'm like right at the base of my back, like to tickle me, like a poke.
Oh my God.
I'm like,
oh yeah, I would have jumped out of my
skin. Did not see that coming at all. So, it startles you, like pinched, poke, grabbed. It's like, I'm not into the touching personally.
I'm not either. I don't like it. We already told on this. We were investigating the Randolph County Asylum in Indiana, and there's a huge paranormal group there, which I really love them. I wish I could I wish I knew their name because I'd give them a shout out. They were the best paranormal group I think I've ever done something with because they were so professional about everything they did. But anyway, we walked in, and I walked in with a friend of mine, and there's like a bunch of us sitting on this long hallway, this long corridor, this asylum, and they're trying to capture stuff. And so one of the guys, he knew I was a medium, and he said something. They were asking the ghosts to do different things.
I hate when they do that. They're not monkey.
Well, no, they were very nice about it. They asked them if they could do this. And one of them said, could you touch David for us? And I'm sitting there like, oh God, no.
Don't be touching me.
They got it on film. It touched me on my shoulder. And my shirt actually raised up the way it touched me. It scared me. And I sat there, and everybody went, oh. And I said, you know what? No more. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be touched. And I sat down. Next thing I know, it poke, right? I got the poke like you did. The poke's in my side. I'm like,
I don't think you told me about this one before. Holy
cow. Yeah. That was that. I was with Jessica and all them and they all watched it. I'm like, oh my God, I just poked my side now. I'm like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Yeah. I was inanimate. I'm not, the ghost wasn't, whatever was doing it wasn't malicious, but
no, but a human could do that too, and it would be annoying. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
With personal boundaries. And I've talked about thoughts on the angel rock, especially too, right? And people don't know, like if you use the woo-woo words, auras and layers of energy and energy body, but people know personal space. I always use the example, if you love someone and you know them well, you allow them very close into your personal space. But when you've all been around,
but your loved ones, I don't think would really do that to you.
No, but that's where I was going to go. That's what I was going to say.
No boundaries.
Somebody you don't know, and we've all
Yeah.
run into it in the right. You feel it. What do we all do? We jump back immediately because we feel it. So we wouldn't take that from a human being. So why should we be taking it from a ghost or a spirit or something?
It didn't do no more after that, but I was surprised when it did the second time. And then, you know, but the group, I was laughing with them. I'm like, you guys don't ever do that again.
No.
It's funny. I investigated with this individual, and we used to do tours, like a Casaloma. Like I was a paranormal representative for a lot of years, a big castle in Toronto. And there's this tunnel. It's an 800-foot tunnel. And there's a spirit down there who's not very friendly. But I think he was a bit of a strong arm. Like he took care of the stables, and there were award-winning horses back then, the whole 9 yards, right? And anyway, so I'm doing the voice recording, and I'm going, why don't you just come out here and just like grab my hand or something, right?
Yeah.
And beside me, I didn't know this until I listened to the EVPs going, please don't touch me, please don't touch me, please don't touch me. Like, poor guy. Poor guy. Like, it was not my intention to get into a
touching match.
Space. Yeah. Like, please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not big. It happens. So, I mean, a lot of people who got touched by ghosts, a lot of it's personal experience, but I mean, I tell you.
Oh, Carrie Lynn's here. Sorry, go ahead.
It's not that fun.
Wow.
Carrie Lynn.
Hello. So glad to see you. Everybody knows Carrie Lynn. If you don't know, you have to. Her show is tomorrow night, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Spirit Switchboard. And we adore her. And we're so glad she can hop in.
Oh, wow. So I was in an inflatable cow costume.
Oh, I love it. It's so cute. You're in the cow costume.
And I couldn't even lean over to hand out candy for the kids. I just held the bucket out.
Irreversible.
I wouldn't even be able to sit here to chat. And I was rushing because I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to hang out with everybody. So I was like, I had to shut everything down and bring it all.
Well, Dave and I were on our own for a while, so we didn't know who was coming, but we thought, why not share the space?
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, just have some fun.
Hi, Heidi. Hi, Wayne.
We had a whack of kids. I never have kids ever. I've been here 5 years, and before what we can't say that happened over the last few years, ever since then, it's been the second Halloween. We've had like 16 kids. By 6:30, they started coming at 4:15, and I make up bags for the kids, like with toys and candy and everything. I made up 40. They were gone, gone. So.
Crazy.
1 year I didn't buy a ton of candy. Wayne was saying something about you here. Hang on. What was he saying? One night he says, Michelle, I got to go up a bit here. Sorry. Spoke to the guy in the tunnel explaining she was there to do an investigation. The voice in the tunnel was later heard to say, why?
Oh, it was more like, why? That's what was on that was the EVP. I'm like, I don't know. Why not?
Sometimes I don't think they want to be bugged.
Come back. Why not?
Did you ever wonder with EVPs if they're actually just hearing it that way, or is there actual some intention the way they say stuff?
Well, I heard it even with my ear, so I don't know. But
it was like, since you heard it with your ear, then
I was happy to capture it, But yeah, it was great in my ear.
And y'all, if you see comments and you want to highlight them, you know the drill. Just hop in and highlight something. Because Heidi, we didn't get a chance to share that, and I did see it because I make things, but I think that's so cool. She wanted to let Carrie Lynn know I'm making an herbal witchy broom. I think that's cool.
So Carrie Lynn, because of our conversations before, what is your take on dragons?
Oh, I have one.
Yeah,
in spirit.
Okay, you're okay. So you're another one. Yeah, all of us. We were talking about dragons earlier, and talking about Ouija boards earlier, and talking about ghosts and trees and kids and kids. Do your kids see ghosts as well?
Yeah, from the time they were little. So that's why I kind of came out of the witchy woo closet, right, to support my kids and then other kids as well too. So it was really where all of my public stuff started, was with kids.
Oh, that's cool. Wow, that's weird that we're all talking about that, and then it works up like that. Things just work out the way that people had questions about kids and spirits too. So
there was a lot that came out and about Ouija boards. I want to say hi to Arlington67 over on Instagram. Again, you guys, we're on Rumble. I don't have a big following over there yet, but we're streaming because for some reason Facebook has not been wanting to play nice. Thank you for your help, Michelle. I saw when I was adding things, so thank you. And then we are on TikTok. We almost got that streaming key. Almost. I'm hoping by next Thursday, you guys, we're going to see the show actually on TikTok. I'm streaming over there live. So I want to thank Michelle Wilfong too, because she's a mod over there for me and doing a fantastic job. So got a bunch of people popping in. You guys, if you do want to join the conversation.
Like Michelle and Heidi, Contessa, they all flip around to all of our shows. It's so amazing. It's wonderful.
We appreciate you guys so much.
We sure really do. And she's doing double duty, Michelle, because like I didn't get a chance to ask her, but it was going crazy the first night I was in there. And I knew she was there and she's always at the show. And I figured I'll add her. If she doesn't want to take it, she won't. And she jumped in as a mod. You guys check her out on TikTok too. She's got a really big channel over there. Crazy Apartment. And
yeah.
Oh, Connie said she loves us. Well, we love y'all too. So
I tried putting the live for my TikTok last week, but
your phone died, remember? Because it wasn't charged.
It was dying, but two people are used to me when I go live. They're used to me doing psychic readings and stuff like that.
Yes.
Well, everybody came out. Is my grandmother there? Is my dad there? Is my father there? Is my sister there? I'm like going, I'm doing a podcast. I'm not letting anybody in right now.
Well, the beauty in it is, so we're live on TikTok and they can hear us, but they can't see. So we normally tell them to pop over so they can join the conversation. Yeah. But like I say, once the show is streamed over here, then you guys will be part of the show. We'll see you. You'll see there's 4 people on the screen right now. So if you guys have some paranormal questions, Michelle's good about highlighting them. Same as on Instagram, you guys. Feel free to let us know. I've been popping back and forth, or head over to, we got UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network on Facebook, or so not Facebook tonight, just YouTube. We're on our secondary channel, UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. We're on my YouTube, which is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. David is The Spirit Experience. I always say, if you can't see us, and you're just listening, that's why you're probably wondering, why can't I comment? So if you can watch the video, you can comment. So thank you for joining us.
The Spirit Experience, is that your name on a channel, or is that like a page name? What is that?
The Spirit Experience is the name of my YouTube channel.
I love that.
Thank you.
It's also name.
Thank you. It's also the name of it's the name of my book and that I'm writing, and it's the name of all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah. And then They Whisper to Me is in like my my websites and stuff. Yeah, it used to be Letter from the Sky. You know what? A long time ago, I had asked the Spirit, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing that? And they said, well, you're like delivering letters from heaven. And I said, oh, like letters from the sky. But then there was a group that had a song called Letters from the Sky. So I couldn't use that domain. And then anyway, long story. But now it's just a Spirit Experience. It just kind of wraps it up. It's just.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Spirits. Joe calls our show The Foot because he can't remember why. But actually, David and I really
just goes foot to me. He goes, here's Foot's number. So I'm like, what?
He told me that. He goes, I just call you The Foot. And it's such a cool name. And I have to give David credit because we did a lot of work on the show before we pitched it. And there was a whole bunch of names I had gotten, and he did too. And nothing just seemed to fit. And as soon as he said The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, and you can tell people where you got that from.
That was my very first scary book that I read as a child. When I was a little boy, I had ghosts. Well, I grew up with ghosts before kindergarten even. So when I started seeing books like The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, I read that book like over and over and over. It's a good book. It's good for children. It's a good children's book. It's got games in there and all kinds of fun stuff.
And it's an old book. Like it was long before when you were little. And it just seemed to be the right kind of thing. So, and the beauty in it is why we started this show and why we do the things that we do is because we all of us that are here even right now get asked a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. So we thought, what better place to have a show, and we could talk spooky. Sometimes people want to talk spiritual. We told them we haven't been going too spiritual this month because it's spooky month.
And then like I was saying earlier, you know what the winter brings for me? the winter, I always gravitate towards cryptids.
Really? We are planning cryptids actually before Christmas.
Yeah.
That was David's idea, and it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just do.
I just did a show on all Canadian Dogman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just
we have a dog man in Wisconsin. We have the dog thing and I don't know if you
sure
heard about
do. The Beast of Bray Road.
Yes, exactly. And they still have the silver bullet at the sheriff's station in the drawer.
That's crazy, eh?
And
have you guys heard of the land between the lakes?
Yes, I have. But tell everybody else, Michelle. And then
tell us. I don't know that one.
Well, this is a place where there's a battle going on between these dogmen and Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot are so aggressive that when they will attack, they'll eat your face. Apparently, there have been massacres there to the point where the military they cleared all the homes and residents out of the entire area back in the 70s, and these things still battle out, but they kept it open as like a park.
Yeah,
and people go camping there, and people are being like ripped apart, kids, families. And there was a survivor of that. He hid underneath one of the trailers of a family that was being attacked, and the father came and grabbed the rifle and unloaded into this thing. The thing eventually died, and it was found off the beaten path kind of thing. And there have been reports of people who have seen military taking a dog man out of there.
I heard this story.
There might be some truth to it. I'm sure there's some kind of truth to it. They also there's a movie about a battle of the dogmen too with the military.
Yeah, but the military are in
this. Is what they're fighting with Bigfoot though. Like I think the Bigfoot are in the north and the dogmen are in the south, or it could be vice versa. And there's this being that's in between, some hybrid being. On top of everything else. And there are tons and tons of witnesses. And there have been a lot of deaths and stuff that have just been reported or covered up, things like that. So I found that to be really fascinating. And I had people ask me, says, why don't you do a story on this? I'm like, because it's new.
Questions.
Okay, what's your question too? Yeah.
I want
to hear something spooky, because you know lots of strange things I've never even heard of myself too. But questions, go ahead.
But I have questions. So many people have Bigfoot sightings, but they don't have, they're not getting their face ripped off. So what is it about that place that is creating that tension between the two of them? What is it that would
military base, maybe frequencies?
Yeah, see,
like a tone, like a dog tone,
energy.
Or experiments, maybe they released a hybrid. Maybe
Dr. Moreau's Island.
I know. It's just crazy because some people have really good relationships with Bigfoot.
Yeah,
it's such a weird thing because I know a long time because I've never saw a Bigfoot with my own eyes. I've never saw one, and I want to, but I believe in them totally. And I used to do a lot of channeling work a long time ago with cryptid stuff, and I was experimenting with trying to channel Bigfoot. So I was asking my guys, can I channel Bigfoot? They're like, well, yeah, a version. Yeah, go ahead, try. So anyway, I did, and I wrote down a bunch of stuff. Like when I channel, that's what I do. I write it all down. And then when I'm done, I go look it up and see if I can validate any of it.
Right.
And damn it, if they didn't validate so much of this stuff. And it was the same thing. They didn't seem evil, but I have heard people, and like you said, maybe I wonder if it's not the beast, but the place.
That's right.
We've also said earlier, though, right, when we were talking about reptilians, and people were agreeing in the chat too, that just as with human beings in this dimension on this planet, we always have the opposite. So not everybody's going to be love and light. Because I've also heard experiences of people, they don't always seem to look like the regular Bigfoot, like these that just as big but different colored fur, but very violent. Very, very violent. But why? Is it like the ley lines? Is there an underground water as well? Is there a portal?
Well, the land is in between two lakes, and it's a national park. You have a lot of people intruding.
Wayne makes a decent point. I mean, I don't know, but it's a good point. Wayne says, I think the Bigfoot beings that are violent are the ones that have been genetically modified by the military to try and create a superstition.
Absolutely, because of the military base there, people have seen them taking them out, and it's all sectioned off. Like you can't just go anywhere you want to in it. And I think they stopped having people there after a while because of all of the aggressive behaviors, everything that was happening. And on that note, I have a show in about like 20 minutes. I have to go get ready.
Go to your show. So you guys, you
look fantastic. Everybody looks so great.
Well, I want to hear some spooky stuff from Carrie Lynn as well. So you guys be sure to tune in. We will be going off on our usual time. You guys want to go join the second night of the Outer Realm with the amazing Michelle DeRoche and her co-host Amelia Pisano. Second night of the Outer Realm, as I always tell you. So have a great show, Michelle. Thanks for popping in.
Nice thanks for popping on. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a great show.
Thank you, darlings.
So tell us some spooky stuff too.
Oh, Kathy. Oh, where is it? Okay.
It's called The Land Between the Lakes.
Or the show. Is she asking about Michelle's show?
No. She's talking about where is this place located where she was talking about. Isn't it called The Land Between the Lakes? Because I am positive I've heard that story. Because Michelle's show is called The Outer Realm, right? Because Kathy will be there. I know she would be there. So what's
pop into her show and ask her.
I'm positive she said, didn't she just say she did a show on the Outer Realm about it?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you just have to go back through the
archives. National Park.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to say, though, if you guys want to find any of our shows, they're always, wherever you've watched it streamed, there's a copy, or anywhere where talk radio or podcasts are carried. I've said even the most obscure apps, I have found UPRN on it. So you can always, like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, Podbean. That's just a few, but you can always find it. So you may have to look up the show. So Carrie Lynn, tell us what's spooky and new. And I haven't even had a chance to chat with you lately. What's up? And
I know. I miss you.
I miss you too.
We just have to start a conversation. I can't think if I have
What was the one you told me about on your show that I'd never heard about? And I'm trying to remember. You were talking, gosh, I wish I could remember what it was.
And the same way I have a hard time like with really, really spooky stuff because a lot of stuff isn't scary to me.
I know.
Yeah,
That's me.
Yeah, Julie. The Land Between the Lakes. That's what I heard too. And that's what the story's called. This, like what Michelle was talking about.
I had like one really intense, scary sort of experience, but then I haven't had a whole lot since that point in time. And when I had that experience, I went in all ego, guns a-blazing, and learned a hard lesson, and then quickly went back in with my guides with a different intention, with the proper intention and being of service. And then the people scare me and other stuff scared me more than, but
you made a really good point about something that we were touched on earlier about, and that's what you said is going back in there with the right intention. Like when we talked about Ouija boards and like Lorilei was telling people too, she had told people, to make sure, you do something. I told them to make sure you don't go into it blindly and stupid because that's what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get.
And everyone's going to keep using it. Like people are going to use it. So educate people on how to do it properly. They're going to.
And what you just said earlier, earlier you got into a situation that wasn't good for you. So you went back to your guides and said, what do I do now? And then they said, this is what you do. And you went back in with a different intention. So it no longer bothered you. And I try to tell that to people. It's scary if you want it. If you want to keep it scary, cool. That's all on you.
No, but it was when you had me on, and then Michelle popped on with us, and we were it's something. It was, I don't want to say it was pigs. It was something I'd never heard of. You were talking about, and I wish I could remember. Because you've got such a knowledge base, like some of the things. Because you know what else I ran across too. Did you remember, Carrie? Then?
No, I just am making the face that you feel that I have a knowledge base, but I love you for that.
I'm going to say this with no ego.
I feel like I'm a mid-50, single mama, 4 perimenopausal foggy brain person that can't remember what
we're all in the same age group.
We're all in the same age group, and I've got 4 cats and no kids. So
between
look at that.
you and Michelle, and I think I have a fairly good knowledge base, but when I talk to you two, I always learn from you, and you guys know some of the things that we weren't talking about giants, but I think it was something known like in Southern Ontario, kind of upper northern states. I never heard of it before. But the same thing I've been running across, I haven't been looking to, is the Appalachia again, about Never Whistle in the Woods. Remember I told you we didn't know about Haint Blue, Dave and I, and you knew about it when I talked to you afterwards.
Yeah, my porch is Haint Blue.
Yeah.
And
Nicole knows, but...
So have you guys talked about time slips? Because I don't know if anybody else is having some stuff happen, but I have backwards, and it's really super weird. Like, I'm having weird time rhyming stuff happen.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Do you want to know what that Lorilei?
But I don't understand it.
Lorilei and I will both agree that that's been happening.
I do.
Has yours happened recently too?
I'm looking for 1 second. Land Between the Lakes, Kathy asked, is apparently is a national forest located at 238 Visitor Center Drive, Golden Pond, Kentucky. Doesn't that sound like an idyllic place? Not like that there's a war going on between cryptids.
Got some weirdness.
Yeah, so when's your last timeline jump?
So are you popping on? Are you hiding in the background?
Well, Joe Montaldo. Hello, Joe Montaldo. Hello. Happy Halloween. What's it say? I'm so grumpy.
I'm not even talking to myself.
Happy Halloween.
Oh my God, no sound, Joe.
No sound, Joe. No sound.
Sorry, guys. Is that better?
You're back.
Yes. I just had the button.
Time slips, and you know what?
Are they UFO related, Carrie Lynn?
I don't know. Ask Joe.
I'm having them
with the trick-or-treaters tonight.
Yeah, we're having them over here, and the ladies I've been working with behind the scenes, we're all getting them, and we cover 5 countries with the 4 of us, all of us. Like, you look at the clock, 9 a.m., and you think 20 minutes has gone by, and all of a sudden 6 hours. But Joe, let's hear your thoughts, because you know lots of us.
Well, we know. Matter of fact, y'all see me on Ancient Aliens pretty soon. They called me today about a gig, but about this subject, kind of. So in abduction research, in the old days, it used to always be missing time. But today, that's not what it is. Now, today, it is slipping time or even time or standing time. So what you get is, well, what happens is so because of researchers like me and all the other millions that are out there, we've all realized that, lost time was a good sign that there was an extraterrestrial abduction. Then it stopped. And then we started noticing weird things like people being put back 10 minutes, before they left somewhere, or they were arriving somewhere an hour before they actually left. It's really weird. For an example,
because they figured out we caught on?
It is exactly why. It's not just that they changed it.
Yeah, did we catch up?
They changed other stuff besides just that. Yeah,
can I ask you this, because it's always stuck with me? You told me this story, and you've told it on air lots, about the lady that was pregnant, and then she stopped. She never knew she was being abducted, and I think you said she found a receipt she used to go for.
So yeah, this is a great story. So this woman was working at this company, and she used to stop every morning for a chili cheese onion hot dog. Now, remember, this woman's pregnant, and we're talking like 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, nastiest thing you could possibly eat. So she did this entire time she was pregnant. And then she had the baby and things went on. Hi, Heidi. And then all of a sudden one day, she's sitting at her house and she said, damn, that chili cheese dog was really good. And then she realized the place was closed. It was no longer open, and she wasn't working for that company anymore. So she wasn't taking that route to work. So she was like, well, wait a minute. How can that be? I mean, what, there's no way. She said, I know I ate that hot dog this morning. It's in my memory. It's a physical memory. So E.T. learned how to loop our memory. So in the old days, you did cover memories, and they weren't really cover memories. What we call them is awakened memories. If you remember certain things like seeing a ship or a bunch of deer standing around or an owl sitting on your windowsill, that's not a cover memory. That's a waking memory. That's to let you know something happened to you. Well, E.T. realized that they could take our own memories, just boring stuff we do every day that we don't think about. Whether like when you're doing your show or typing, getting stuff ready, just stuff you won't contest in your brain. They use that and they loop it. And as far as you're concerned, you didn't lose any time. You didn't gain any time. Nothing weird happened to you. The only thing you remember is whatever you were doing that day. The only reason we know about it is every now and then they screw up and we catch it.
Wait till you hear this screw up.
Yeah,
this is always stuck with me, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, so in this woman's case, it was just insane that, I mean, she drove to work, you know, she did her routine with her baby, and then all of a sudden, we're talking a good maybe a year afterwards, all of a sudden it was the exact thing in her head. She got in her car, she drove to work, she stopped and got her hot dog, she went to work, she came home. But she no longer worked at that company, or did she stop and get a hot dog because the company had closed. So it's just a memory, and she couldn't shake it. She just couldn't get rid of it. I mean, it was there. She could actually taste the hot dog in her mouth. She said, I went up to my husband and blew in his face, can you smell the onions on my breath? And he started laughing at her. He was like, baby, what's wrong with you? You know that place is closed, right? And so she calls a friend of ours, an associate of ours, and gets herself hypnotized. And they knew there was something not right, but they couldn't get through it. So they called me and another friend of ours, and we did what we call a deep dive hypnosis, where we take you down and walking on the beach and let you choose what you want to look at. So in and about the third or fourth session, we're talking about 15 hours now of hypnosis. She realized she opened the window and she looked, and she no longer seen stopping at the hot dog stand. She's seen the little gray standing there with the little thing in his hand, like, well, guess what, sweetheart? And one of my favorites is the couple that went to Florida. They went to, this is a couple that goes to the same place all the time. They go down there to do UFO hunting. This particular time, that's not what they were doing, but they went down there and they checked into their favorite hotel on the Back Bay in Florida. Sorry, guys. So they checked in. They got into their hotel. They got everything set up. And then at 10 minutes to 11, they got in their car, drove to the local Circle K, bought some stuff, drove to the beach, parked their car in this park area on the side of the beach, and went out on the beach and had a weird experience. But we're not even going to get into that. So they get back to the car.
You found a receipt, though, that proved that.
So they go back home. Everything's fine. They get back to the hotel. They spend the night. They do their business. They go home. And this is like, I don't know, it's a couple of weeks later. She's in there cleaning the car, and she reaches down and she pulls out a ticket for being illegally parked for the night they were there. And the ticket said 10 minutes to 10. Well, actually, I think it said 10. So this is a ticket issued by a cop. So she calls me up. She said, Joe, first, I don't know how I got in my car. And secondly, this is a legit. So I call the Florida Sheriff's Office and I talked to her and I told her what was going on. And she said, oh, yeah, the cop was there. Seen him at 10 minutes to 10. This is the dispatcher telling me about it. And she said, I'll put you in touch with the officer. I talked to the officer. Said, no, it was 10 minutes to 10. So now when I went to 7-Eleven and talked to 7-Eleven about these people, it was shift change. They all remember these people coming in at 10 minutes to 11. The hotel video shows them leaving at 11 o'clock and going and doing their business. But the film for the car's in two different places at 10 o'clock. The hotel film has a car there. The highway film has the car parked at the beach.
How did that happen?
And how did that happen? And nobody knows how it could have possibly happened. So there was an hour of game time. Nobody knows what went down. So they finally got hypnotized and they broke it all out. But it was such a weird case. And it was the very first break we ever got. We realized at that moment, E.T. was screwing around with the time. What he was doing, I shouldn't say what they were doing is pulling you out of time and holding you inside, doing whatever they want, and then putting you back 10 minutes after, 10 minutes before, an hour. But it was never at the same time. So one of my other favorites was, and this is also in Florida, I went down to meet a couple who had been abducted. Linda and I went down and we met them and we had dinner with them. We all had a bunch of pictures taken that night. So I went back to the hotel at 12. I was going to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning to go home. So 6 o'clock in the morning, I get this frantic phone call. This woman is screaming at me on the phone. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I get dressed. I get in the car. I drive over there. She said, look at me. I'm like, what's wrong? She's got hair in her legs this long.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when I seen her that night, she was clean shaven. There was no hair in them legs. So he comes out the back. He's got a beard like 3 times. I mean, it was down to here.
I was just going to ask you, was she related to Bigfoot? But I guess not.
No.
Both.
So, I mean, he's wearing this big monster beard. Now, he was clean shaven, no beard, no mustache, no nothing. We got the pictures to prove it. So we got pictures at 11 o'clock that night of the four of us together, and she's wearing a dress. You can clearly see there's no hair on those legs. You can clearly see there's no hair on his face. But yet at 7 o'clock in the morning when I got there, they had so much hair on them, it was ridiculous. So we went and I asked the doctor about it. He said it was 3 to 4 weeks worth of growth. So in that short 6 hours between the time I seen them and the time they called me, they lost 4 weeks of their life. 4 weeks. That's how long they were gone. So missing time's not a thing anymore. The ET figured out how to pull us out the side. They figured out how to recover our memories without doing it the old way, and it makes it much, much, much harder now.
But something's going on with time.
I don't know if they're pulling. If they're
well,
pulling.
Just let me finish, Steve. I wanted to add this. Something is going on with time because, especially people that are working in the fields that we are, a lot of us are realizing. Like it's not so much missing time, but it literally just seems like time just seems to really speed up. I don't know, Carolyn, you asked it, your thoughts on what you're experiencing.
Skipping. That's it. That is the correct word for what I have been experiencing the last few weeks.
It's because we are not evolving fast enough. We are nowhere near where. So what they're doing is
I have some salty words about that.
Well, you know, it's one of them things, but they and using the word they is just a bad thing to do because you can put anybody in the they. You can say it was demons, you can say it's God, you can say whoever it was. But since we know there's at least 3 types of aliens visiting the planet that do regular abductions, we figure they're skipping time to move us along. So the problem with skipping time is it falls into what I call the paranormal realm. So when you first start looking for people who have or contact you, you ask things like, do you have an interest in vampires? Do you have interest in werewolves? Do you have an interest in ghosts or demons or paranormal? What was your religious status going up and how many religions did you go through before you got to where you are today? These are all sure signs. Yeah. So this is this. Yes. All kind of stuff like this. This is almost a given. Owls? Yeah. Are you seeing owls? But all these things tagged together almost guarantees that you're an abductee. It almost guarantees it.
I know I've been abducted.
Yeah, most of the people in the paranormal field are
Rh negative blood, and I blinked my eyes, was miles away from my car in the opposite direction. I've told you this story many times. In front of this building. I don't know where it was. I was surprised I got cell service, and my partner was calling me saying, "Where are you?" That's why my eyes opened, and I had to say, "I don't know." And he was going, "What do you mean you don't know?"
He's lost.
I was abducted. I don't know what happened, but I was.
So it's like they speed it up it's hard to explain, but it's like, okay, you're walking along, say let's say you're walking to the local convenience store to go get a snack. So you know it's a 20-minute walk from your house to there. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden it skips and you go left and you look at your watch and it's only 5 minutes has passed, but you're now at the store. Mm-hmm. So either you learned how to fly or you were running, or something else happened. So we've been measuring this now for 3 decades. Is how long we've been tracking.
Do you think they're giving us downloads though too, Joe? If they don't think.
Oh yeah, if you're in a contactee, you're getting downloads regularly. Mm-hmm. So the downloads are basically so it's hard to explain, but so like in Carrie Lynn's case, they would download a whole packet into her head, but it's not going to open. So as you go through what you're doing with your life and how you're moving through your life, according to what you're doing, different pieces will open up and will allow you to expand. In other words, you'll get like a burst of knowledge that you didn't go to school for, or you didn't learn from anywhere. It's boom, it's in your head. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter who you are. This works for everybody. And the more downloads you get and the more they open, the smarter you get. So an average contactee is usually on average. So let's say they're a high school grad. Most of them, if you tested them, would test somewhere around a bachelor's degree. If they got a bachelor's degree, most of them would test somewhere around being a PhD. And that's the difference right there. And how much, matter of fact, there are contactees that can quote a universe in a nutshell that have never read it ever. And it's not just that, there's lots of other stuff like that. So they're downloading the information, but they're still leaving it up to you to use it, how you want to use it. So they trust their contactees enough to say, okay, well, we've been watching Lorilei and Carrie Lynn and who said, and David moving along. Sorry, somebody hit me when I said that. Just going through life. And they said, okay, well, they're on this track. This looks pretty good. Let's give them some information that can help them move into what they're trying to do. Now, are they going to make you rich? No, I wouldn't count on it. Not that some of them haven't been, This is more about bringing yourself to where you need to be when the time comes and helping other people get there as well. See, because remember this, whenever they're doing whatever they're doing they're not taking everybody. Everybody always says all 9 billion of us are going to know. That's not true. They have a finite amount of people that they think deserve to live on this planet. And since they have the control and the power, we're limited.
And you said family lines too, right, Joe? Like it seems to be.
Yeah. So the people, so you're going to have a core group of people who are going to stay behind. So when the time comes, you will, I wouldn't say you're going to die, but you'll find yourself in a new body. They'll upload your whole entire consciousness into a new body. It's fast, it's smarter, brighter. It has telekinesis, telepathic, empathic, telepathy, the whole 9 yards. And it's very powerful compared to modern day standards. Those people are here for one reason, to go find contactees and abductees that in government took and are keeping their hands on, because whatever they let loose on this planet that kills everybody, contactees have a natural immunity to it. So the government and the army, whoever's doing this, need this. So they're taking these people. Well, for some reason, the aliens don't want to take them. They want us to go get them. So they give you those abilities to retrieve these people, bring them to certain points, and let them be taken aboard the ships. Now, unfortunately for the people who are doing this, they will never get to leave the planet. They say they're going to be tainted because of some of the things they'll have to do to retrieve some of these abductees and contactees. Now, what line of goal, how long this plan's going to be? When I got involved with this, so I had laid out the how we're going to find out about ET through the program. It's basically 100 years ago we started learning about ET in different ways through different books from different people. Each generation learns more. This generation today is inundated in everywhere you look. It's on the Doritos bag, on the Fritos bag, on your Coke cans. They're everywhere. I mean, everywhere you look, just some kind of alien movie this, alien movie that, alien this. So we're being desensitized slowly but surely. And I also said, one of the first things they'll find water on Mars. Well, they found water on Mars. Then they'll find, that there was life on Mars. Well, they found there was life on Mars. Yesterday, they said they think there still is life on Mars.
So but Iranian mainly, right, Joe? From what
but now the next thing will be, they will either show you a piece of life. Now, these aren't going to be microbes. These are going to be like animals and plants. They're giving off enough oxygen that it has to be bigger than a microbe. So you'll see that. And then the next thing you'll see is, oh my God, there's a ruin on Mars. It will prove that there is advanced extraterrestrial life in the universe other than us, but it won't be a threat because they don't exist there. They're gone. It's overdone. Millions of years they've been gone. Well, maybe it's because they came here, but we're not going to get into that. But they'll be gone. Mm-hmm. So that'll be that desensitization. The next program after that is contact. That's full-blown contact. And we would already had contact, but the majority of the world is just not ready for it. Any way you look at it, the religious sect, which makes up 80% of the planet, is just not ready for it. The four of us are fine. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I've heard that before in our Nor. In fact, I was giving, and I hate making predictions. I really do.
I know it's a bitch.
It's because you never know. I mean, predictions are what they are. It's predictions. But I've given the same prediction over and over the last couple of years. Is that it's either at the end of next year, the beginning of the next year, that starts more contact for more people. But I've heard the same thing you just said. We are way behind. People are just so stupid right now that they're if anybody were to come here, they're going to freak out because they're not ready to go. Not everything that comes here has got to be mean and cruel. And I think that's the way we portray things. Yeah.
They're for the most part, aliens look at us. Well, if you look at the Greys, they look at us more like pets.
I knew you were going to say that. You always say that.
The reptilians consider us family. That's why they won't hurt us. They consider us family because we're in their direct line of descendancy. The humans are funny because they like some of us and they don't like some of us. They're very picky about who they like. And you can go all the way back to the Sumerians to find that out. So we know they've been here. But what happened was they thought, and this is an error on their part, so we know they make mistakes. And we know from other things they've done, they make mistakes. That they thought because of the contactees would be accepted more openly. And they haven't been. Not even in this country, they haven't been accepted. Now, granted, there's more talk about it these days and more people come out. But still, telling somebody you're an abductee is a good way to lose a job.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So I go all day and say, I'm chasing ghosts down at the haunted mortuary, one of the graveyards in New Orleans. They that's crazy, no big deal. I go to the same company and said, "Oh, I've been taken by aliens." You know, you're fired. You're out.
It's so funny. Even with the seances and stuff that I do from home has shifted where more, even with the ITC stuff, the alien stuff is coming through more and more and more. And there's people that are like, we thought we were here for the seance. And I'm like, it is seance. And we're opening up a door and this stuff is starting to come through and they're freaking out. And because they're wanting just ghosty stuff and not looking at it's all connected.
It is all connected. I agree with you because you know what I've thought, and Laura Lynn will probably agree. Aren't you getting like not just spirits coming through, but aliens coming through? And you think people go, well, is that a spirit? I'm like, well, in a sense, but they're so evolved, they're in another dimension. So they see that's all spirit is another dimension. Because even during my near-death experience, I mean, you don't experience time. And it's wonderful. I love it. But actually, the beings that you see on the other side could be, or like I tell people, your guides or angels could actually be ETs. Angels could be ETs.
I lost a good job one time because I said it's possible that Jesus was an astronaut.
And it is possible.
I mean, I lost a $250,000 a year job, and we're talking like 35 years ago. This was big money back then.
You were rich.
They said they didn't tell me why. They said, well, and I just got a raise 2 days earlier.
Yeah, but Joe, it doesn't look good on your HR report to let you go that he's a weirdo and his.
Oh no, because I got to sue them over that. So they weren't going to go there. But it's but somewhere along the line, because they've speeded up the amount of abductions. Abductions are up, not down. Even though fewer people realize they've been taken because of the way they've changed things, but abductions are up. So we know they have a timeline that they're working on, what it is. So Greys have an unlimited lifespan, and the reptilians and humans pretty much do as well. So
but Joe,
trying to figure out what their timeline is tough.
Yeah, but Joe, do you think what it is too? Like everything's coming to light. Like I almost, and I'm not a big Bible person, but it's almost like it's a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, and the things that people were never aware of, whether they wanted to be or not, are really coming to the surface. Like, do you think ET has something to do with that as well?
Well, ET's trying to wake us up. Well, it's kind of like I got in an argument with somebody the other day because they were telling me about poltergeist. I said, how do you know it's paranormal? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, you ever see the movie Close Encounters? And they said, yeah. I said, you don't remember all the toys flying around the room, beeping and making noise? I said, that was definitely not a ghost. That was an alien. I said, so how do you know when you're witnessing a poltergeist that it is a ghost and not an alien? There's no way of really knowing unless you see the being. There's no really way of knowing. And they're very similar. I mean, there's not really anything that differs in how it works. So it's hard to tell. And there's not just that, there's other things that we call crossovers that you have to wonder which one are they? Is it paranormal? And that's a bad word to use because everything's paranormal. Aliens are paranormal, demons, ghosts. That's all falls under the same thing as paranormal. I know people get mad when I say UFOs are paranormal, but paranormal just simply means something that's not normal. Which, let's be honest, alien abduction shouldn't be something that's normal. It's and those people tell me we don't know nothing about ghosts or demons. I said I grew up in New Orleans. I said I live in one of the most haunted cities on the planet.
Joe, I talk about the stories you have told. What's the restaurant with the guy that's supposed to be the
Antoine. So according to Anne Rice in her book, Interview with a Vampire, it was one of her books anyway. She says, so if you ever go into Antoine's is like 150, 160 years old. So when you walk in, you see a line of people's faces, portraits on the left wall.
And they all look the same.
They all look the same. They're all in different clothes, but they look identical. She said it's all the same person. Antoine's a vampire and has been down there for the entire time. He came over from France. He was about 700 years old. He came over from France. And he opened Antoine's, and he's been there ever since.
Did you see the paranormal pic that got caught recently? Some guy was doing wine research because you would know their wine cellar is worth millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody was down there snapping pictures, and it looks like this woman in this 1800s gown. Like, it's a really
they get a lot of stuff like that. So at the Quarter Two Sisters, Antoine's, and somewhere else, you can go have ghosts with a dinner with a ghost. So you can go down, they'll rent you a room that they know is haunted and set up a dinner, and you can invite people. Well, there's a guy that goes around and does it, but now the restaurants down there do it as well. And they said, we can't guarantee you it'll show up, but a lot of times doing dinner, Somebody will come floating through or moving around, or the city's very, very haunted. There's a lot of people died in that city. There's a lot of plagues went through it. So it's a really, really haunted city. So
yeah, but you said with Katrina and all the salt water, you said that since has lifted, but didn't you see a lot of the activity lifted in the quarter?
So not in the quarter, because the quarter wasn't affected by quarter's high ground.
I've never been
down. Everything around the quarter had 8 foot of salt water in it. Mm-hmm. So highly unlikely any ghosties stayed out there. They were probably pushed away or destroyed, one or the other. But a lot of them were pushed into the quarter because the quarter was was concentration ghost at one point. You know how you get concentrated orange juice? Well, it was like concentrated ghost at one point. There was just so many sightings going on. But as people started coming back and the city started to open back up and rebuild, you started hearing about reports outside. But the first time I went downtown after the hurricane, it was so quiet. It was eerie quiet. I mean, there was no birds, chirpings, no crickets, no nothing. And a friend of mine, Canuck, he was from Canada, from Saskatchewan. He came down to help us out.
That's it, right, Carrie Lynn?
Yes, he's it freaked him out so bad he would never go into the city again. He only would work in the suburbs. He would not go back in the city. And then one afternoon, I had the whole crew with me, and we were going around in the boat, and we made a turn. And when we made a turn, there was 9 bodies floating in the water. What they did was, when they saw a body, they would tie a string to it, pull it to a stop sign, and tie it to a stop sign, so they knew where it was, so they could come back and retrieve it. So in the first few days, they were all over the place. And if we saw one, by law, we were supposed to hook it to the boat, bring it to the stop sign, and report what street it was on, what the cross streets.
How awful!
But it was one of those things, and so those spirits were somewhere. I mean, that was not the best way to go, and now you're floating around in nasty water for God knows how long before somebody finds your body. It was a creepy. It was very creepy. It was very weird, but I still to this day can't get over the silence, because it wasn't even silence. It was just an absence of sound.
There's lots of places that have that.
Yes, it was very, very strange. Yes, and it's hard to deal with. Being that I'm in the fields, it was a little easier on me. But everyday normal people, I watch guys that had fought in Iraq get in a boat and leave. They said, "I can't take this anymore." One guy said it was like his eardrums were pounding against his head, trying to make some kind of noise. It was driving him crazy. And then, of course, there was the reptilians walking in the flooded water on West Esplanade going to the quarter. We had 4 squads of cops seen it. And I think altogether it was almost 11 people who were in the military who had fought in Desert Storm had seen these guys. And I always wondered, the first report I got was from a NOPD. He calls me and tells me, "Man, me and my partner seen these 2 things walking in the water, and it was about chest deep for us. And whatever this was only about waist deep." He said, "So we want to know who it was." So we went over there. We're trying to find out who's walking through the water. He said, "I remember as I got closer, it was creepy. He said, so I remember taking out my gun. And as I got close to this thing, the next thing I knew, I was sitting in my car talking to my friend." He said, I could never tell you what happened. One of the guys was telling me he pulled his M16 down and was aiming at this thing. And the next thing he knew, he was in his Jeep getting ready to go have lunch at one of the local pubs.
Oh, see, now I don't get to talk to you like I always used to. So this is a new story I have not heard.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of
these. Teach that guy a huge lesson at the same time. Like if that reptilian wanted to take him out, he could have.
He could have. He could have easily taken him out.
So you don't need to clear your gun the next time, because it's not going to matter. Like,
Joe, you gave me peace when we first met, when I first came on the network, and we were having a conversation. Because remember, I used to do my show late on Mondays, and we always had an hour when you produced us. And we had a conversation about ET, the first one. And I've never forgotten this, because you made such a good point. And I agreed with you that yes, they have been here longer than humans, and yes, they are more evolved than humans. And then you said exactly just what Carrie Lynn said. So you don't think if they wanted to get rid of us, they couldn't have a long time ago?
They could have offed us. Well, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have the species.
No, but that's why people get scared and worried.
That's what started the blood type thing. So we got to talk, and so most humans don't realize this, but prior to about 50,000 years ago, everybody on this planet was brown skinned, brown eyed, and brown hair.
I tell this story all the time.
And this is science fact. You don't have to take me at my word. Everybody on this planet was pretty much brown hair, brown eyed, and brown skinned. That's who we were. There was one type of blood. There was no big differences in blood. The population, however it started out, that's what it was. It was A, B, O. I have no idea, but whatever it started out with is what it started out with. And then somewhere between 20 and 40,000 years ago, there was a mutation. Rh negative came on the scene, and when Rh negative came on the scene,
I've heard you say 70,000, and I've heard you say 20,000.
Because nobody, when I talk to different hematologists about this, no one can give me an accurate date. Some say 20,000, some say 40,000, some say 100,000, some say 70,000, because no one actually knows when it actually happened. So what they're trying to do is work us backwards by how many green-eyed, how many blue-eyed, and how many Rh negative people there are on the planet. Well, right now that's currently 15%. So
and red hair, right? And red hair.
So it's everything we just talked about is a mutation. Rh negative is a mutation, blue and green eyes. All the different colors of eyes except for brown are mutations.
I'm a mutation.
Yes, so am I. And some of them are more mutated than others because some have colored eyes and Rh negative blood or
so
O
am I a
negative
mutation? I got purple hair now, but they're brown eyes.
But no one can explain why this came along. And then you have to think, we know it wasn't Mother Nature because Rh negative was a baby kill. It brings stillborn babies. The body looks at Rh negative as an invader, so it kills it.
It does.
So for a long time, if you wanted to get married, you had to go get a blood test. And if you tested as negative, they had a shot. Well, back then, they didn't even have a shot. They just told you don't get married. And then
my brother
was in the
died,
80s.
and working in the nursing field and NICU, and even being a mom, Carrie Lynn, you know this, we have to go for Rh negative screening. I think it's around 20 weeks, and then you got to get the shots. Otherwise, yes, you will end up with a very sick
and that's what you got to do. So no one could figure out why Mother Nature would create something that killed babies. 15% of the babies at that. That's a big chunk of the population. So, and then of course they found the guy in Australia who had the anti-D gene, and that's where the vaccination came from. Because of him, now you don't have to have blood tests anymore. They can give you a shot or actually a couple of shots, and you can have a normal baby. But no scientist today can explain why it came around, how it came around, or why anything would have created it. But then there's things like Rh negative is the universal donor. It's also the purest form of blood known to man. How can it be a mutation and be the purest form of blood known to man? That's crazy. It's a contradiction, but yet it is true. Without Rh negative, our hematological research would be 1,000 years behind where it is today. And without Rh negative, we wouldn't have green and blue eyes or all the other shades of color. So what are these mutations, and how come so many people in the music industry and the political industry have colored eyes other than brown? And Rh negative blood. What do they stand out? And if it only took 20,000 years to get to 15%, where's the percentage going to be in 100,000 years? Is it going to be 50-50? Or Rh negative going to breed out Rh positive as we go along? These are all questions no one.
Or are we going to get a mutation of some kind that we've never seen between Rh negative, Rh positive, and almost like, if you will, a splicing of the two, maybe?
And somebody asked me, how do you know it? I said, well, first off, when we first discovered this, we were working with the 3 top hematological people on the planet. What was funny about this is that I did not tell them it had anything to do with aliens. Nothing. That's
why I told people we have 2 names on this network. And because
I couldn't tell them because I figured they would say no. So when I finally did tell him, the guy was like, aliens? I said, yeah, well, the majority of our contactees are Rh negative. I said, so why is that? And he didn't know what to say, but he let us go ahead and use his maps. And then we found out another strange thing. Did you know Central and South America is 98% O blood? Doesn't say negative or positive. It just says O blood. Now, everywhere else in the world, that's not how it works. Rh negative is O negative is 7%. O positive is 38%, and so on, just like all the rest of the bloods, but not in South and Central America. It's 98%. So a lot of people think that's where we started and mutated up and around instead of from Africa this way. This part of the population came this way, that part, and there are skulls in South America that are different
than
ours.
Nicole.
There's just so much of this research that people don't know about, and maybe that's half my fault because I've been preoccupied with other stuff, so I haven't been speaking as much as I usually do. But there's so much that needs to be explained, and there's so much that needs to be explained why there's such a correlation between UFO research and paranormal research. Why is there so many crossovers? You know, nobody wants to talk about it.
Joe, like you said, you can't separate it.
No, you can't. But we should be able to explain some things like there should be a way to determine when we're talking about poltergeist. There should be a way to determine that this is an alien poltergeist and this is a ghost poltergeist or a demon poltergeist or whatever the hell poltergeist it is.
Or could you be very telekinetic? Because we've talked about this before.
Yes, the kids. Yes,
that's with true. Pre-adolescent females, especially, right?
Yeah.
With the range
their psychic abilities kick in. Yeah, it's easy for them to manifest stuff like that. It's easy for them to manifest other stuff besides that. But that's all research that we're all touching on. But still, it's hard to explain. So these females that we're talking about, is this a gift from ET that allows them to manifest that's coming out? Or is this something that's born through their family because there's a paranormal connection to their family? Or is it both? It's probably both, because the majority of people I find in the paranormal field, when I hypnotize them or polygraph them, turn out to be contactees. No, abductees. Bad word. Abductees are people who don't know they've been taken. So almost 90% that we've tested turn out to be. That's why on the chart you'll see stuff like we said, are you interested in vampires? Are you interested in this? Are you interested in paranormal in a general way and all the stuff that goes in it? Do you like reading tarot and stuff like this? This is all stuff that ties directly into the field. These people, when tested, turn out to be abductees. My problem is the reason I don't push it is because they're serving a purpose. That's why on the network I don't push it, because everybody who's on this network, whatever they're doing is serving a purpose. You know, all of y'all have a purpose that you're doing. David's working one way, Lorilei working one way, Carrie Lynn's working one way. I'm just bitching all the time, but still, you know, we're all working something, so it allows us to explore a much larger area. And I tell people this all the time. I get to research by proxy because I know all of y'all and a bunch of other people. So when I get something that clicks in my head, I can just put it out there and say, okay, what do y'all think? And then it'll float around to 200 or 300 people, and it'll come back, and I have a much better idea of where to go from that point. So I'm lucky in that aspect. What's one of the reasons this network was founded, because I needed a way to put information in the general public without having to wait for Coast to Coast or Ancient Aliens or somebody like that. I mean, I've been on Coast 6 times. I've been on Ancient Alien 4 times. I've been on Discovery. I'm also on Netflix. But the thing of it is, it doesn't give me that day to day. Let me tell you, what's
it's not always just you saying it either.
No, it's not. It's listen, I got all of y'all, and then of course we have the wonderful Michelle, who's out there causing trouble.
It's her show right now.
Yeah.
She's a fabulous researcher. You know, she's she did all the research for all the gray zones. She's a fabulous researcher, and her and I butt heads from time to time, which is the whole point. You know, she'll say, "Oh no, I think it's like this." I said, "You know, you're crazy, right, Red? You're crazy." And she's like, "I'm crazy. You all right? Somebody's gonna get crazy." But she is a hardcore researcher. It's one of the reasons she got on this network. It was because when we first met, when she was still in Niagara Falls doing AM, I had talked to her a bunch, and I really liked her and Amelia. And then I realized after talking, she was well versed. And then she sent me her TV resume, which, by the way, is freaking this long. It's just one line after another line. She's been on everything in their mama, and she's done all kind of research. So she's a wealth of information, and we don't always agree on it, but the information is still there.
Yeah, but Joe, David and I don't always agree, and we find
you're not supposed to.
No, but we're respectful.
That's what we say. Yeah, you're not supposed to.
The audience seems to love when we don't agree, but it gives two different perspectives, right?
Well, they do. I mean, as long as you're respectful to each other, you don't have to agree. It's when you get all nasty that's when people get upset. And but most of the people in this network are not like that. They're not that kind of people.
No. And
I'll just tell Michelle,
doesn't have to be confrontation.
Yes,
true.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it's basically just perception. I mean, we all see the same thing. We just perceive it differently.
Yeah,
or what
that's true too.
With and people, I find most of our audience is very open-minded. That if they want to know more information, plus most of the hosts on this network, I think almost most of the shows I've seen, anyways, people, as a host, we encourage people to don't take what I say at face value, but if it resonates, do more research.
Even when people are asking me, where should I learn mediumship? I said, by tons of different people, not just by one. Learn it by tons. Because otherwise you're going to just get stuck doing that one person's thing the rest of your life, and you're never going to expand.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because that's how I learned how to be tarot and do tea leaves and a few other things. I was working at the bottom of the cup, tea leaves in the French Quarter, which is I think 140 years old or something. They read for everybody and a mom. Every famous person you can think of goes in there. Mm-hmm. But I had 11 mentors who had been doing this at the time. I was just a baby. I was in my 20s. And these people, 40, 50, 60 years old, had been reading for 30, 40 years. I mean, they really knew this stuff. And when they read me, they were accurate. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that helped me design the new tarot reading. Matter of fact, they still use the new one that I designed. I shouldn't say because there was a couple of us that designed it, but it's a fabulous way to read.
Work with different people because I think I'm still taking courses. I think that I'm putting my first course together, but I always tell people if you can, don't stick with just the same person because everybody does things differently. You may find a better way to do it, or you're going to learn.
You should always have your favorite mentors, the ones that you know work for you. And then you should be out exploring, seeing who can help you to learn other things. We teach psychic abilities, but first we need to make sure people understand that they have them.
Yeah.
That's why
the hardest thing is, I hate when people tell, oh, you're gifted. It's not a gift. It's an ability. Everybody's got the same abilities.
And I still get in trouble because I say only contactees and abductees have the abilities. And everybody says, that's not true. We all have it. I'm like, no. I said, I can prove we don't all have it.
They're stronger and they're strong. Some people do have, they come in.
Well, there's latent, but I would still bet even the latents were taken because this is an easy thing to prove. So all you have to do is take a deck of cards, colored cards. You don't even need nothing fancy, no numbers, just red, green, blue, purple, orange, whatever. Go to your local mall, sit down at your local mall, have some little coupons you want to give away. You'll be surprised. You'll get 200-300 people to be tested in a day, easy. And 90% of them will never get even one card right. Not even one. But that 10% will be, red, blue, green, red, yellow, purple. They're getting every card right. That's a gifted psychic. That's somebody who has extreme abilities that probably will never get to use them because they really don't understand what they have. We can only tell you so much. There's only so many of us to help people learn. So a lot of these people find out they got ability, but they don't know what to do with it. And telekinesis is something that we're just not quite. Telepathy and empath abilities, we're much higher than we want to give ourselves credit for. Mm-hmm. As a species, as a group, which I would say about 15 or 16%, are much higher than what people want to give credit for. But, there are a bunch of people out there that have no idea what this means. And the reason we know telekinesis isn't around is the government. Because if telekinesis existed, Vladimir Putin would be dead. Xi Jinping would be dead. Trump would have killed half of the leaders in the world.
You get us a strike.
No, that's not going to get you a strike. But so if you were truly a telekinesis, I could just think and close a little artery in your brain, and you would have an aneurysm and die, and it would look natural. There would be no way to prove it was anything other than that. We're not quite there yet, but I want to warn everybody: within 100 to 200 years, there will be telekinesis on this planet. And the longer it goes, it's here, the better people are going to get at it. Right now, we just try to tell people how to block.
I think we communicated that way thousands of years ago.
We probably
and we do it as a soul, I think, too, on the other side. I think.
Well, we're such a mixed species now, is we don't know. Well, it's like this. So the average person on this planet's biological clock is set to 24 1/4 hours. Anybody know what the time is on our planet? It's 23 3/4 hours. Why in the hell is our biological clock not set to our planet? Also, the optimal body temperature for humans to work in is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not the average temperature on this planet, but it was on Mars 53 million years ago. And by the way, Mars has a 24 1/4 hour day. So are we really? I always tell people, don't be pissing Gaia off because we might not belong to this planet. Our Gaia might be on Mars, and we over here messing with this one. So we don't really know. When you do the math, it does look like somewhere along the line there was intervention, and that the humans on this planet may originally evolved on Mars. And NASA now is starting to think there was a possibility that some of life on this planet came from Mars. Because now we know for a fact only 2 billion years ago on Mars, life was teeming. Mm-hmm. So we know that life could have came here easily.
See, Joe, we need to do more paranormal. Remember when we used to do this and we'd have...
Well, it's funny you said that because I
am loving this show. And there have been a lot of people that have with everybody on here that's been on here.
Well, I told Michelle a couple of weeks ago, we need to start scheduling a panel, maybe bi-monthly or something like that, because there's so many good hosts on here. Like poor Carrie Lynn, she never gets to come up here and tear people up. She's such a sweetie pie. I stop and listen to her show all the time. Somebody was asking me about her the other day. And she, by the way, Carrie, you're an excellent host. But
I tell her that all the time. She is, and she has great guests, and she's so knowledgeable.
You trust me, you'll know if I don't think you're a good host. I'll tell you so. I'm not real bashful. Or I'll tell Michelle to tell you one of the
There's always room for growth.
Well, there's always room for growth. Yes, I agree with that 100%. But I've seen you now quite a few times on air. I've watched you on Roku a few times. And you look good on there. You sound good. You got your stuff together. You're really giving good advice. You're not just slinging bull stuff out there. I'll say that politely, but which is nice. And then we've had hosts that have not. How can I say this politely? Not been that good, and then we'll just leave it at that.
Great.
Well, let me rephrase it. We've had hosts that faked it. Is what I guess I should say. They want to be that paranormal host. Matter of fact, we just retired a host not too long ago for that. It's they want to be, they want to be that person, but they can't figure out what it is. So they're reading stuff from different people and just trying to say stuff that they've heard other people say instead of, coming from here. What they know is true. You know what you've been doing. You've been researching for a while. You're not a baby. None of us in here are babies. We've all got a good bit of research behind us.
But you have to have the personality though, too, Joe.
You do have to have the personality. Well. Yes, you do. And when I first seen Carrie Lynn, I said, "Oh, I don't know. She looks like she might be a little bashful, Michelle. I don't know. It might be hard around here because we got a bunch of egos in this network." And then I heard you in your second show. I said, "Nah, she's going to be fine." And you came out. Yeah. Well, CL's like that. Well, first time I did a show with CL, I think I gave her a nervous breakdown.
He is. Where's your hat, Dave? Kassoon wants to know. And
Kassoon said, I thought Dave was wearing which hat? No, I wasn't. I don't know where you were.
It's a warlock hat, man. What are you talking about? It's a warlock hat. Yeah. Which you stole it from us, man.
Well, I want to give Kassoon a shout out because he's over in Sri Lanka. It's like it's the middle of the night, and he gets up to watch our shows when you join, and he watches many of the shows on the network too.
Yeah,
we like having you here.
And they're loving the panel idea people are putting too. Because Joe, we used to have a lot of fun on the panels. Remember?
We did, and we need to get back to at least a bi-weekly panel. I mean, they did get out of control. Well, Michael. Oh, well,
how do they get moderated?
They don't.
Well, they do sort of. So usually we will pick somebody to moderate the show. Sometimes I do. Sometimes Michelle do. Lorilei got stuck doing it a few times. And so basically
But you pick a topic. You pick a topic, usually that helps too.
Yes. But usually the hosts are pretty respectful of each other, even though there might be 8 or 10 people in the panel. They'll usually, so what we'll do is whatever the line is on this screen is how we talk. So Lorilei would be first, you'd be second, Dave would be third, I would be fourth.
Yeah.
And how many other people in it that we just talk like that? And we try for the most part to keep our answers under 3 minutes. It's not always easy, especially with me.
Really well, Joe, because like you usually or Michelle would pick a topic and then people would know, so you'd know what you were coming to speak about. And Joe is absolutely right. So when you ask about moderate, somebody has to moderate it. So
and we've got a bunch of new hosts. We've got a bunch of new hosts that need to be brought in the network and feel like they're part of the network. I was talking to this about Michelle yesterday. I said, I haven't met a bunch of them. There's more coming in. Michael's back, by the way.
Oh, yay.
No, he is a changed person.
I'm glad to hear that.
I was going to invite him because somebody said about a Halloween party. I was going to invite him to the party, but I came and seen y'all. I said, no, I'll just leave it.
I didn't know. So the people that I didn't know, the people I did know, I invited. And last year, because usually if there's a party, I'm the one that says, let's have a party.
You're usually the one. Well, the only reason I knew is because I seen your advertisement. I played it on News and the Flip Side.
Well, I talked to Michelle, and last year I put out save the date. And then the week before, and then I still had to message people. So I thought, you know what? People will know by today. I put the advertisement out, and I thought people will know by today what they're doing it was yesterday, what they're doing for Halloween.
But we need to go back to just, our either probably bi-week or maybe every quarter. But the panel shows do really well. I mean, the worst one we ever had did 2.5 million people. So, I mean, it's a worldwide group. So, when we're talking, all of our audience is from around the world. So people like to hear it. They enjoy it. Everybody brings something to the topic. We have a well-educated group, not just on the paranormal, but they're well-educated in general. which makes for much more interesting topics. And we allow the audience to interact. They can interact as much as they want. And if we really like them, we might even let them come jump up in the box with us.
Well, especially when we were on Skype, we could do that, right?
Like, yes, we can still do it now, but we're kind of limited now. So if this, depending on how many hosts there are, we can send a link to anybody and drag them in with us.
True.
But I think what is StreamYard? 8 or 10?
10.
10. What it is 10. We have been looking at a different company, which allows us to have 12 or 14. So we might change, mainly because we've been having weird glitches with Facebook and Roku.
You're reading my mind, Joe. That's what I was talking to Michelle about.
Yeah, Roku's been glitching, but this is the funny part about Roku. So it goes on, off, on, off, on, off. Well, the other day I sat there and watched Michelle all night long. I watched you a dozen times, and I know it's going off and on, but it's not going off and on the screen. It's going off and on Facebook. So I got into it with Roku about this because I said, what are y'all doing? He said, it's not us, it's StreamYard. He said, you're on. Let me send you your stats. Well, our stats have quadrupled. So obviously, so what they've done was we used to have a little box they put us in. Well, I got in a big fight with these people because of how much we pay them. And they decided that they have this section on Roku. That's their live section. They put us in there. That's why our numbers went up. And so when we pop on live, it pops into Roku's live section. Sometimes there's 1,000 shows in there. Sometimes there's 2. It just depends what time of day it is. So we get popped in there, which helps us out because people are scrolling through the live going, oh, well, look at this. This looks much more fun than some of the boring stuff that's on there, which we're not going to mention. But
people love when there's, they get to see a lot of the new. They would be nice for the new hosts. Like that's why I love if I get to help produce because I meet people. Otherwise, like I didn't know who some of the new people were. I know we have new hosts and new shows.
Yeah,
and
we
then
do.
the audiences get to meet everybody that's new too. So it's kind of
nice. And we've got a couple new pre-record shows coming on, but they should still be invited in to come hang out with us. And I'm almost dragged John in here today, but I figured Emily would kick his butt if I drug him in here. So I said, nah, better be nice. It's there's just so much going on in this network. And somebody asked me, well, all y'all offers UFO parents. I said, no, we got all kind of stuff. We teach you how to get a job, how to make your business.
Joe, I tell it every time at the beginning of a show.
I said there's so many things. And there's a couple of other ones Michelle's bringing on that are total different topics.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, yes, our bread and butter is UFOs and ghosties. I said, but a good 20% of our shows have nothing to do with those topics. It's a growing section in the station. So
remember, that's what I started with. Like we used to only be known as United Public Radio Network when I started here, and you explained why, right? Because some people didn't want to come on with the title of UFO Paranormal Radio Network, so that's why we have.
We still have both names. We own both names, and we have 2 websites. We have a UFO Paranormal Radio website, by the way, but we really use now UPRN Talk Radio is what we use the most. That covers everything. We don't have to tell people. They can figure it out for themselves because it is true. I have asked politicians. One time I asked this guy, what is come on UFO Paranormal Radio and UFO Undercover. He said, I'm a congressman, right? I said, yeah. And he's like, no, Joe, it's not going to happen.
That's not going to work for me.
So, but about 2 years later, when Stephanie took over and we switched over to UFO United Public Radio, I called him back and asked him, would you come on using the flip side of United Public Radio? He said, yes. He had no problems, but I can understand. I mean, UFOs are not that kind of stuff can get you in trouble in certain jobs. So it just works out, but we're doing really good. And we've been having some little glitches with SoundCloud lately. I'm not sure how that's getting worked out, but everything else has finally worked its way out. And Roku's worked its way out. Now we may be changing companies on this, and we may be changing companies with Roku to a different company that wants to give us not Netflix. I'm sorry.
Apple TV.
No, Apple's in the list, but Amazon. They want to give us Amazon and Roku. Well, between Amazon and Roku, there's almost 400 million subscribers, and they're not the same subscribers. So that's a lot of people we'll have access to. And we don't have ugly hosts. We look good on TV. Well, we might have ugly hosts. No, we're all good here, but we might have one or two that's kind of scary. I mean, Jeffrey's a little on the scary side, even though
I love Jeffrey. Don't you say that about Jeffrey?
He is scary though, man. God.
I love Jeffrey.
Which I haven't seen him. Like I got to pop into one of his shows one of these days. I haven't seen him.
Invited him.
He's I don't know what he's been up to. And then Jay, Jay's out there, and Jay is a co-host. He doesn't have his own show, but he's a co-host. He actually now co-hosts 3 shows on the networks.
Isn't he with Jeffrey too?
So some Fridays he does Jeffrey for 2 hours, and then he does News on the Flip Side for 3 hours. And sometimes News on the Flip Side can run over, so it might be even close to 4 hours. So he puts in a hell of a day. He comes and guest hosts with me on UFO on the Cover sometimes. So he's doing that. The only one we got to teach is our youngest female host, Leah. She needs some work, but she's a sweetie pie. She just she's very energetic, we'll say. Leave it at that. She's a lot of fun, but she's no doubt an abductee. She just doesn't know how to deal with it, and she has reoccurring dreams on a regular basis. Yeah, Sean. Oh, Sean is scary. Which Sean? There's 2 Sean.
Sean is not scary.
Oh wait, we have 2 Seans now. We have Sean Kelly and Sean Hazlitt. Sean Hazlitt's on Sunday night. He just had Whitley Strieber on just about 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
And Sean Hazlitt, he's a Sunday show, and he's with both Seans are on Sunday, by the way. You got 2 Seans, and you've got Karen are all on Sunday. So we're getting ready to add another show to Sunday. So it's fun. I mean, it's fun. And there's so much stuff to talk about. He does a lot of conspiracy stuff. You'd love him, Laura. He makes you look like.
Call me, and I've said this many times, you call me conspiracy princess because you only know one other woman worse than me and call her the queen.
Yes, and she co-hosts with Michelle.
I think that Sean, it was Sean's, I don't know if it was his first or his second segment, and his guest didn't show up, and he carried that whole show on his own, and he did a brilliant job because I watched that segment and it was great. He just took it in stride and away he went, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it's always been a rule in the network. We don't like to give hosts more time than they can handle by themselves. Because every now and then a guest won't show. But like this book
I love doing shows on my own.
Yeah. So this book right here has, I don't know, 80 or 90 different talking points in it. So if somebody doesn't show up, I'll just flip the book over and start going through the talking points. And usually by then, other people are asking questions and wanting to know stuff. So, it's a little rough your first time doing it. I mean, it can be a little scary, but once you've done it a few times, it's nice.
Too, though, Joe. A lot of us.
And then a lot of times, you can find another host who'll come hang out with you and just chit chat or something. I always harass Michelle. I'm like, Michelle, what are you doing? She likes to harass me. Joe, what are you doing? Nothing. Oh, you gonna come hang out? And I'm like, damn, I should have said, no, I'm doing something, Michelle.
Okay, folks, I need to run.
And Dave's got to run. His kitties
I actually got to run too. Yeah, they're going crazy.
And your girls are probably going, where are you, Joe? Are you popping in?
No. I got to be careful because, I can make Amelia crazy. So Michelle knows how to deal with me. Amelia gets this. I just make her frustrated. She's a conspiracy freak, man. Wait, hold on. Before we go, let me show y'all something. Y'all got to see this. We'll just do a short version.
Super show. Thank you, everybody.
Let's find this real quick.
As Joe said, you heard it here. He says we're going to start trying to do this more.
Yes, I will talk with Michelle and get with y'all too.
I just noticed what you put under your name. Hal has no fury like a madman on a mic. Oh my gosh!
I can't read it. I don't have glasses on.
Yeah, it's been on there for a little while. Wait, what did I do with this right quick? Let me show you. Okay, here it is. Y'all gonna love this. Okay, where is Amelia? There is Amelia. Let me see. So do y'all see this list? Now watch this.
Joe, you say to send you stuff if we find it.
I do, but look, this can go on for 10 or 15 minutes. We'll let it stop for a second so you can see it's conspiracy stuff. And it just keeps going. Now, don't get me wrong. I do. I look at every link. But what I do is I put them so I can listen to them because a lot of them are short, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, a couple of second links. But this right here, the other day I did this. I never got to the end of it.
I had some video clips for
That's just from Amelia?
It's just from Amelia.
She needs
and she's not just there. She sends them to me on Instagram and other places. That's my.
Did you say she needed a what?
A hobby.
She just sends them.
Oh, a hobby. I was gonna say. Yeah.
So I'll say something to her like,
"Oh, her hobby."
She likes to keep me up. She keeps me up on Trudeau in Canada, and she keeps me up on Trump and Harris down here. But all kind of other paranormal stuff, all kind of weird stuff, and so between her, Lorilei, and Martha, I don't never need anybody else to do.
I don't send you a lot.
Well, I haven't been asking you for anything lately, but
I just sent you something tonight.
There you go.
You?
Yep.
Why did you send it?
I don't know. The only number that I've got.
You sent it to my phone? Oh yeah, there it is. Look. Oh,
look
at this. Look at that.
I didn't send it to your phone.
There you go.
All your Facebook accounts. I sent it today. It happened during Formula One today.
Well, I was talking with some of the boys the other day about just doing a 3-hour conspiracy. So not all the time, but that might even be one of the panels or two we might do.
I think it would be fun.
Just straight out conspiracy.
Yes.
That way everybody can talk about what they want to. We'll set it as a 3-hour show and just let the host come and go as they want to come and go, and see where it goes from there.
If you want conspiracy, just watch TikTok for 5 minutes.
Oh, you're not kidding about.
I'm streaming, Joe. I am streaming on TikTok right now.
Oh, there he is. These pumpkins are huge. Where is it at? These pumpkins are. So the other day I was going to get me a pumpkin. I walked into this place. They were like $15 a pumpkin. I'm like, Jesus, man. So I had to go. The next day I came back. They were $2.99 a pumpkin. Buy one, get one free. I was like, what the hell? I guess because it was so close to the holiday.
Well, Joe, we are on TikTok. What I have been doing, and I figured it out. By next Thursday, I should have a stream key. We are live on TikTok right now. And listen to the show.
So now I didn't put you on TikTok. One of my accounts is well over 3,000, but TikTok is weird about monetizing live broadcast. You got to be 10,000 people or better.
You do. We don't in Canada. But David has 96,000. So David can come on. Plus you can co-host. So I figured all this out. I figured out how to get a streaming key. I have gotten a hold of somebody, but apparently they want me to do an hour, 24 hours apart, 3 days in a row. So I was going to start it tonight. I'm starting it tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then hopefully I'll have a streaming key and we should be able to do it.
I'm sucking the life out of this. If I can get it close enough for y'all to see.
What is that?
That's the pumpkin. I'm sucking the life out of him. See, I'm pulling it out of him.
Oh, I see what that. Yeah, it does.
We didn't even do a pumpkin this year.
We didn't either.
I always do. I do two, one for the front door, one for the back.
This is my Halloween decorations.
His is really nice. He's got all these ghosties in the back, and
that's all I got. That's all I did.
That's all I did was put up pumpkins. I was supposed to go. A friend of mine yesterday asked me if I was going to go to the Anne Rice Vampire Ball. And I was kind of like,
I'd love to.
Well, so there's two of them. There's the Anne Rice Ball, and then there's the Vampire Ball. And they're two different. I interviewed the Vampire Ball a couple of times, and people are nuts.
Seraphine used to go, but she's not living in Florida anymore.
Where is she now? You post every once in a while.
I think she's in.
Hey, I need food before I pass out.
Go on, get out of here. Well, I'm getting ready. I got to get out of here and go beat some animals. So
Yeah.
No, I need a burger. Babies. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And David, I love David because you know what? Halloween fell tonight, and I thought let's have a party. We get him this lightsaber.
Glad to see you on.
And we love you, Joe. Thank you. I always try to give you a shout out.
I'd stay on longer, but I got. If you guys heard it earlier, I typed to Lorilei. I said those aren't EVPs. My cat.
Well,
Exactly.
y'all heard my dogs come by twice. They're sitting at the door over there looking at me.
Okay, you guys in the audience, you heard this. You heard this. That don't take off yet, Carrie quickly. You heard this. So hopefully we're going to be having some panel shows like this in the future. Carrie Lynn, can you please tell people where to get a hold of you and your show and everything, please?
Tomorrow night, 6:10 p.m. Eastern, Spirit Switchboard. My guest will be Jacqueline Goldman from Guelph Urbex, which is super fun. CarrieLynnShellhorn.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Lots of fun stuff happening that way. That's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Happy Halloween. Dave, you want to tell them, and Joe, everybody knows you, but we'll still give you a chance.
If you'd like to follow me on Instagram or TikTok, it's Medium David Hanzel. There are no numbers, no slashes, no dots. I will never, ever private message you to solicit readings. I don't play that game. If you're interested to know more about me or get a reading, you can go to my website, theywhispertome.com. Outside of that, please follow us on Facebook. It's the Spirit Experience on Facebook, Spirit Experience on YouTube, and it's the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hanzel on Facebook is the group.
Which are doing very well, by the way. Well, y'all close to 800,000 these days.
Yes, I know. Fun. So you guys, if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/Angel Rock. I do psychic readings, crystal Reiki, mediumship. I do mentoring and teaching. Also, right now, that's the best way. In the new year, I am setting up a course to start teaching, so I should have it under a domain name. Don't forget to tune into the Angel Rock Monday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on UPRN. And I feel bad I forgot to check who's coming on, but you know it's going to be someone fun. We always have great guests. I want to thank everybody that dropped in for the Halloween party tonight. Stay safe, stay spooky. Happy All Saints Day tomorrow. Joe, thank you for popping in. He says you said
Joe. Thank you, Carolyn.
You said to look you up, right, Joe?
Yeah, y'all can look me up. I'd rather y'all look up the host. Y'all can see me anytime. I'm on 3 days, 4 days a week, so y'all can catch me anytime. I do Science and Beyond, UFO Undercover, News on the Flip Side, and the Author's Quill.
So stay spooky. Are you ready, Dave? We got to do our sign off.
This is good. 1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
We did do it.
We never get it right, ever.
Dead on. We love y'all, everybody. We'll see you next week, same time, same space, and we'll see you on Monday. All right. Take care. Check everybody else out that was here too. The girls are still on out around tonight, still till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love ya.
Causing trouble. Causing trouble.
That was fun. I'm so glad you came in.
Yeah, I wanted to stop and see.